Guys, we are here. I'm 2 minutes late and it's not Ryan's fault. Believe it or not, it's my sister Brianna's fault. And I told her I was going to blame her. And she was like, "Tell everybody I said hi as you blame me." It was really cute actually. She does say hi to everyone and I would love to have her on. But she's not on today, is she? No, cuz this is not my sister. This is like a sibling though. I've always said Ryan and I are very brother and sister like even though I've never had a brother. Guys, this is Ryan. Most of you should know Ryan, Squirrel Girl, saving money on Prime Day. Oh, I love you, Squirrel Girl. That's the way to do it. Um, Ursina, I love that you're here. Peace Lady. Guys, so this is my good friend Ryan. And most of you saw Ryan. How many people in here know Ryan from the past? When did we do that, Ryan? I think it was like 4 months ago.
It was several
Hey,
months ago.
Alana. Okay. Ryan came on once several months ago and we just chatted and it was funny. Okay, he's at a cigar bar, by the way.
I'm at my
He wanted
favorite
to
place
be.
in Kansas City. This is my Zen thing, and I feel like this can get a little uh, intense. So I want to just be chill.
Why would it get intense?
I guess we'll find out.
Well, I guess you don't do this every day like I do. The only thing that's
No,
intense
I
right now is
don't.
the zit on my face. No. Ryan's really he's good people. How long have we known each other? 5 years,
Several
maybe
years at this
4?
point. Yeah. God,
Okay,
is
we
it
met.
really? We added it up last time, and it was like, holy moly, that is a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while at this point. I mean, we haven't been friends for like a decade, but we've been friends for a long time. I
Half a
met
decade.
Ryan um I met Ryan, guys, at the senior living community that I worked at. I was there first, and they sold the community to a corporate community. And Ryan came in, they hired him, and we hit it off. But I have to be
Right
honest,
away.
Ryan and I, yeah, I mean, because we both have really dark senses of humor. We get
Hmm.
along good, but I'm gonna be honest. You're probably gonna see this in the interview today. Ryan, did Ryan get married? Not yet.
We're probably going to elope
It's gonna happen soon.
soon.
Ryan and I, hey Ren B, I love you, girl. Ryan and I kind of challenge each other though. We're not like the smooth friends. We've gone a while without talking. We've never had like a falling out, but there have been
No.
many times where I'm like, yeah, I think you're full of it. And he's like, well, I think you're full of it. And this is why. And it's not funny. Like we're being real. Like he challenges me, I challenge him back, and he gives his opinion. And I actually appreciate that in a friendship. It's not just I'm gonna just be nice to you because we're friends and I guess I'll agree with you to. I mean, it's not like that. So we're honest with each other, and sometimes
Hmm.
it gets a little combative, to be honest, but nothing disrespectful. It's just we
No,
don't always
it's
get
just coming
along.
from, and I mean, I think oftentimes we will arrive at the same conclusion at the end of the day, just from different directions as well.
Yeah, for sure.
More,
I would
more,
say
more
that's
often than not, I think that's how it happens.
yeah, yeah. It's just I think what the thing is, we're both very strongly opinionated, and when you have people like that, they're not always going to agree. And I don't even know why I'm saying that other than yes, mom. Oh boy. Okay. That's horrible news to find out on a live. Okay. Something with one of our animals. That was really, really bad news. Um anyway, that is the case. Ryan and I have been, and I think that we will continue to be long-term friends in life. He's engaged. He's getting married to Natalie, and Natalie's the cutest little thing, and we get along great. The only bad part is we don't live in the same city anymore. But
That's a shame.
yeah, and I don't really expect you to stay in Kansas City forever. Ryan is very much would love to live where I live. He's very like outdoorsy wilderness, wants to live in the middle of nowhere. So maybe he'll come here. Hey, Katie Fulton. So I want to
We may,
say,
hey, we're talking about a vacation. If you have room for us, we can probably take a weekend trip and come kick it with you, Reese. I think that would be fun.
I would love that as well. And we will make room.
Yeah.
Not my personal animal, guys, an animal at my mom's farm. We were waiting to hear the news and it wasn't good news. What is Ryan's sign? He is a Taurus.
Taurus.
Uh he would love Tennessee, Shelly. So guys, I want to say thank you for being here. I don't think that we're going to do a roll call. I'm seeing everybody in the chat. I appreciate you being here. But I think we're going to jump into it because I honestly didn't ask Ryan how much time he has, but I know that he has Natalie and their kids, and I don't want to keep him forever. But I also want to take our time in what we're going to talk about, because what we're going to talk about is important. And I can't always catch Ryan. So I want to make the most of it. But please know, I appreciate your super chats, and of course I'll address those, but I wasn't going to do a roll call today just to be respectful of Ryan's time. Thank you, Puka Vista. So Ryan has had, let me start by saying he has been friends. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I would go so far as to say he has shared a friendship with Jeff during the time I was married to Jeff. We spent a lot
Yes.
of time. See, Ryan was not always with Natalie. So before he was with Natalie and he was single, Ryan would spend a lot of time as the third person and would go out with me and Jeff, specifically to a cigar bar in Kansas City, because Ryan is smoking one now and Jeff smokes cigars and drinks scotch. And so we would often either go out to dinner and then go to the cigar bar, or he would meet us at the cigar bar on like Friday nights after work. So he spent, I would say, a lot of time. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
I
years
think I
worth.
was probably, yeah, I think I probably thought Jeff was more of a friend than he thought that I was a friend. But yes,
What do you mean by that?
we can touch on that. At the end of the day, I'm not a Mason. I'm not a Shriner. I'm obviously not.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So I feel like, you know, he focuses more on those relationships than someone that's not in those groups. And I was not in those groups. Am not in those
Yes.
groups.
Well, it's similar to Scientology, where your closest friends are always going to be Scientologists. Your dentist is a Scientologist. That's how
Yeah.
it is with the Jesters that I saw. You know, Jeff was friends with you, sure, but absolutely. I mean, and he made that clear to me many times. He would say to me, I like Ryan. Yeah, he can come along. And I would go, what, do you not want him to? And he'd go, no, I like him. But I mean, he's not a jester. You know, he's not. And he would imply that, like, we're not blood brothers, but hold on, I have to sneeze. I forgot my Zyrtec last night, and it's really, really showing me that I forgot, and it wants it to know it, and it's making it very clear. Hold on. I'm going to mute it because it's gross. Hold on. Okay. No one wants to hear that. So I would still say, though, you spent a lot of time with Jeff and I for years. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to paint a picture for everybody and do the framework so that people can see.
I mean,
It
whether
was
at
years.
the
It's
cigar
not like you went
lounge
out with
or
Jeff and I 3 times. It was years.
no,
You came
I
to our
was
house, we went out to
came to your
dinner.
house multiple times, sat out on your
Yeah.
balcony until midnight. I mean, yes, no, I was around for years. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So you knew Jeff well, Jeff knew you well. And this is not, I want to make this clear. This has nothing to do with Ryan. Um, Jeff's daughters are going to be streaming with me as well. Crystal will be on tomorrow. Uh, uh, the other daughter, Ashley, will be on with me next week, and they will hear this right now. I actually haven't said this to them that yet, but I didn't even preface this with Ryan before we talked today, but I want to make this clear to any guests that I have on and also the people listening. And this is completely, I don't want to come off as disrespectful. My channel is not about drama. I don't want to make things about drama. I don't, this isn't like, ooh, I'm going to get views talking about this and let's stir up as much dirt as we can. It may look that way as a viewer. It may not. I don't know. I'm not living in your head. But I will tell you, the intention is not let's throw Jeff under the bus and let's be as hateful as we can and let's wish harm and he's so disgusting. That is not the intention. If you notice, I want people to stay in their own lanes. Ryan's going to use his voice to tell us what he experienced. I'm not going to try to sway that. I'm not going to do that with his daughters. However, I am going to make boundaries here and I'm going to make it clear that we're going to stick to facts. Okay. We're not going to get, political because Jeff is very political and that rubs people the wrong way. We're not going to, I'm not going to let anybody come on this channel and say, I hate this person and I wish, all these terrible things. I don't want that on my channel. And Ryan, I don't think you're going to do that. but I'm more telling the audience this. I don't
I
want to be
will
hateful.
never bash Jeff. That's the thing.
I know
And
you wouldn't. And I
if
love that
people are
about
coming
you.
on, like, and I'm not trying to like start off on the wrong foot, but I mean, I've seen some of the things in the Facebook group, and I understand it. Truly, I do. But um, and I'll say the same thing now that I said before. Like, the man was nothing but decent to me, right?
Exactly.
And that being said, I also do not agree with the bulk of everything that he has said and done.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm not here to bash anything. It's more to like Reese said, like she asked me, give your perspective, things that you've seen, things that you experience, how, you know, what maybe like thoughts that you've had about Jeff, like why does he do the things that he does, things like that. But I will never bash the man. I have,
Right. To
personally
me,
no
there's a
reason to do that.
difference.
Yeah.
To me,
Facts
there is a
only.
difference. And Ryan, I love that about you because I already knew you were going to feel that way. And guys, this isn't me yelling at the chat saying, hold your tongue. I saw Estee just said, I'll hold my tongue in the chat. Guys, it's okay to state your opinion. It's okay to say, I don't like Jeff, but I
Yeah.
want you to know me and my guests on this channel. I will not allow that because I also believe in karma. I believe that people
Hmm.
are going to, whatever's going to happen is what's going to happen. I don't wish things on people. I don't want that. And I have said many times, I truly hope that Jeff's life improves. I hope that he finds the truth. And I hope that he lives a much better, healthy, legal lifestyle. And I hope that he seeks therapy because we all need that. I'm not saying that because Jeff needs therapy. I'm saying that because we all could use that. It helps. Mental health is important. And I just want to validate that and just, I know I'm harping on it, but the bashing, that's not my thing. That's not my thing. I played an audio of Jeff yesterday because it was part of what happened in my journey of being married to this person and it's all unfolding. And I know that was triggering and harsh, but it's part of the story and it's the truth. Okay. And the truth is what's important, not this is what I think. And I hate him because he votes for this person, or I don't, I'm not into any of that.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into any of that. So I'm just prefacing it with that. Ryan, I love you. You're not going to do that. But I wanted to make that clear because even when his daughters come on, we're going to make that clear. I want them to have a voice, but at the same time, we're not just going to tear Jeff down and, you know, say he's just an ugly person and he has been forever. And, there's good parts to Jeff. And you're going to talk about that today, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Tommy, talking about
Yeah.
concepts and issues instead of talking about people. I love that, babe. And thank you for your super chat, my dear. So yeah, someone said, like Ryan said, this is what's interesting about Ryan. And I look forward to your point of view on this because we've talked about it before. Jeff was nothing but nice. But you saw
Yeah.
some things that were going on behind the scenes that made you go, ooh. And you even saw something before I did.
True.
And you warned me about it. So I kind of want to start there with what you thought and what you saw just in the very beginning when you and I became friends.
Well,
Jeff and
it's
I were married.
yes. So I know I stirred some drama up in the Facebook group because the thing is, anybody that is not a member of Jeff's family, Reese, apparently his daughters, his
Mhm.
ex-wife, I truly believe that the vast majority of you, 99% of you, if you sat down with the man at dinner, or if you went to the lounge, or if you sat out on his balcony, you would not know or suspect the things that were going on, and you would like him. That's the thing. And Reese and I, we were talking on the phone probably a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. It seems to go by so fast. And we both kind of came to the conclusion that the the Jeff that you see, the Jeff that the public sees, the Jeff that I saw, that is the real Jeff.
Good
He's
point.
not lying. He's not faking. That is him. He is, and again, I don't want the chat to get so pissed off, but he is one of the most generous guys you would come across, right? That being said, the Jeff that his family saw, the Jeff that his daughters lived with, the Jeff that Reese and Huxley lived with, that's also the real Jeff. And it's almost like Jekyll and Hyde. I think it's the best way to describe it. The two sides don't talk to each other. Like the Jeff that everybody else knows cannot reconcile the horrible things that I've heard on recordings, the horrible stories that I have heard on this channel and from Reese personally. Whereas the dark side of Jeff can't look to the other side of Jeff and be like, I'm such a good person. Why am I acting like this? So both sides are very real. He's not faking. The guy is not lying. It's really him. Both sides are truly him. It's the weirdest
That's right,
thing.
Erica.
I've never seen anything like it in anybody before.
I haven't either. But Ryan is telling the truth, guys. I
Yeah.
haven't either. I've never seen that. But would you say you worded it so well when we talked on the phone a couple months back, but I agree with you on that. He showed the one side that he showed to nobody. He never showed that to his mother, his sister, his brother, his family. He showed it to, as far as I know, his ex-wife, his 2 children, and Huxley and I. I've never seen him act, the nasty, like, you're a piece of S mother. You're never going to go anywhere. You're uneducated piece of, like things like that. He would have never said in front of you. He would have never said in front of his mother. He would have never said in front of Tommy. So he was controlling that behavior. But when he said, you're getting this because you deserve it, you're getting this because you have to be punished, he believed that.
Yes.
It wasn't to be mean. I don't think in his mind.
No.
I think he believed that. That was his belief system. Can you expound on that?
I don't know if he used that as a way of rationalizing it or if he did truly believe this. Like, if you do X, I will do Y, right? If you do this to me, I will do this to you. I don't know if that's truly like the mentality behind it. Like, it was thought out and planned out and so forth and so on, or if it was just a way of justifying it. I guess it's the weirdest thing. And I saw someone say, well, someone has a public life, someone has a private life. Well, yeah, we all do. And to say otherwise is foolish. I act a different way in public than I do in my own home, right? Everybody does. Reese does. Everybody does. Everybody on this channel does. But to be so just 180 degrees from each other,
2 different people. That's not common, I don't think.
No. I mean, I truly don't think it is. It's wild. And
That's a good point. He may go to the mean Jeff when he gets frustrated or feels he is losing control. Yeah. I think it definitely things trigger that in order to show that Jeff, for sure. You have to do things. I mean, Jeff was perfectly nice to me a lot, as long as I knew I was staying within the boundaries of what I could and couldn't do. If I had a voice or my own opinion, he was like, oh, hell no. That
Jeff
is not how we
has
think
to
in
be
this
in
house.
control. Jeff has to be in control of everything at all times.
I like this too. The generosity isn't based in kindness. It's based in the need for people to think he's generous. That's horrifically sad, but it matches up with everything else. There can't be love without money.
I don't believe that. For some people, yes. I don't think that for Jeff. No, Jeff had no reason to be nice to me, right? Jeff had no reason to invite me to his home. He gained nothing from it. So some people, yes, but I don't think that was the case here. I
do, actually. I do, because right there it says based on the need for people to think he's generous. He's all about optics. Jeff is all about optics. He is terrified that you're going to find out, so like he's Mr. City Councilman. He's he's a president and CEO. He's I'm a member down at the cigar bar. He likes to tell
I'm a council member. Yeah.
He's a show pony. He likes to say I'm a big deal, and I just can't not stand that. I don't care who you are. Anybody that says I'm a big deal or, people know me, I can't be around it. It's so gross to me when people behave that way. So, that's that. Would you say that sums up? I mean, it's all about optics.
Jeff is very concerned about how people perceive him. Yes. More so than I think the average person.
Yeah. And he gains that superior feeling because of money. I think that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna make you laugh.
Go on.
You've heard it a million times, but
You don't care
uh
about money.
no, on our first date, Jeff and I's first
Oh.
date, there was only one bartender at the club. You know this, where we would go.
Mhm.
Do you remember him, Ben?
Yes. Oh, I love Ben. Yes.
Yeah, he was the only guy that worked up there. It was like it
Mm-hmm.
was open 4 days a week. But I
Mm-hmm.
remember on our first date, Jeff like brought the server over and he was like, "Hey, is Ben working up there?" And little did I know Ben's the only one that
Yeah, I remember the.
dick swinging. And the guy was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, yeah, Ben's here tonight." And Jeff goes, "Tell him to make a drink for the chillest."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And everywhere we went,
Yeah.
that's Jeff's nickname in the Jesters. He's the
Mm-hmm.
chillest. It's tattooed on his arm. It's on all of his shirts. It's on his business
Mm-hmm.
card. So everywhere he goes, he's like, "Tell him the chillest is here." I can't even say it. I can't say it in my regular voice. I was just talking to Tommy about this the other day
Yeah.
because I've heard it so long for 5 years in a row. It's just this hilarious. And every time he would do it, I was like I would not be able to control myself. He'd be like, "Tell him the chillest is here. They'll know who that is." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen." And I remember the night of our first date, and he was like, "Tell him to make a drink for the chillest." And I was like, "Oh,
That's
oh
your Jeff
my
voice. Oh my
God."
God.
It's not my Jeff voice, it's my dick swinging voice. The chillest. Let's see.
I mean that is true. I mean, and to be fair, I did see that as well. So
Guys, that's tattooed on his arm.
yeah, it is.
That's a
Yeah.
billiken, by the way. That's a jester billiken with the jester crown on, but it's supposed to be Jeff. Tell him the chillest. He'll make a drink for the chillest.
And I've
So
seen some
yeah.
people in the chat already say, "Well, he was only nice to you because you're a man." Maybe, but
Oh, I think that's very true. He was very nice to Tommy. Men are superior to with him. Men are on his level. Women are not. What up, Reese? What up,
and
Ryan? I
that
love Blake.
and that yeah, that very well may have something to do with it. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's not the case. It very well could. It
Yeah, I
very well
mean,
could.
so the cellist thing was a big deal for him, but also the fact that he was a city councilman, if you recall.
Yes.
And I'm not giving away information he didn't already, by the way. He said that on
No.
a live with me. He said he was a city councilman for 12 years in the city we were in. So guys, that's not like I'm doxing that. He said it. But he has told me the story many times of like he was pulled over one night and the cop came up to the window and was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, councilman."
The thing is,
I
I
was
don't
like,
even know.
"Nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows."
Like how many? It's not like you're senator. Like how many councilmen are there? Like I don't know any of my councilmen. I don't know
It's
nothing
also
about it.
similar. I told you this. Cellist, Kestrel, cellist, the cello. He's a concert cellist, which he's very
Oh.
good. But oh my God, I laughed so hard when he told me that story. And I would say, I was like, "Jeff, nobody knows who you are. Like, you're aware, right?" Because he would call. I told you guys this. This is just part of the story. I feel like I'm being mean at this point, but it's to build the story here. Jeff would call the cable company. He would call a restaurant to make reservations. He'd call any random place that you can think of. He'd call a hotel to make a reservation in Vegas. Okay. And they'd go, "Good evening. This is blah, blah, blah restaurant. This is Jesse speaking. How can I help you?" And he'd go, "Hi, Jesse. This is Jeff Quibell."
Ridiculous.
No, that's it. He would end it with that. He'd go, "This is Jeff Quibell." And they'd be like, "Yeah, okay. Can I help you?" So like every time we'd make a restaurant reservation, he'd be like, "Yeah, this is Jeff Quibell speaking." Like this is Prince. What? No one knows who you are, but it's part of and the reason I do bring this up,
Yeah.
guys, this is not a Jeff thing. This is a jester thing. I have seen this whole jester mentality. They feed into it with each other. This whole very narcissistic behavior. I've seen them all react this way. And I don't know if you have, Ryan, because you haven't been around them as much as I have, but it's just they give their names out like that. One of the jesters, like they all have little funny nicknames.
Yeah.
And yeah,
They're like
one
fighter
of them.
pilots.
Yeah, yes.
Maverick, Goose.
Yeah. And And so they all kind of refer to each other with their nicknames, but that's cool in your group because you know who
Yeah.
you're talking about. But I died every time. He was like, "Tell him the chillest is here." And I was like,
It
"Holy."
it wasn't an act though. Like that is his
No.
identity. That's the thing. Like we sit here and to us it's funny and it's like it's humorous. It makes for a funny story. 110%. But at, it is who that is his identity. That's what I mean. That is, and it's like it's so hard. I mean, it's just so hard to like fully under like I cannot put myself in that mindset,
And it's
right?
also impossible to do anything other than with this face. Like when you're about to
I
laugh.
know.
How many times, Ryan, just tell me, because I want you to confirm my story here. How many
Hmm.
times have you seen him be like, the chillest? Like
Multiple.
how
I mean,
many
all
countless?
whenever we're at the Pendergast, I mean, legitimately, every time we're at the Pendergast, and it's just like I don't know. When I were to call Ben, I'm like, hey Ben, it's Ryan. What's up? Like, I
Yeah,
don't know. It's very important to all of them though. That's the thing. It is very important to all of them. It is
all of
the
them.
most important thing.
It's very important that they have a status and
Yes.
that they're, labeled as such, they're respected with that, and it's just
Hmm.
hilarious. And I'm telling you, the entire 5 years, I
Yeah.
cracked up every time. It never got old when
I
he was
think
like, "I'm a councilman."
I think every time we went, whether it was to eat, brunch, the
Mhm.
Pendergast, I mean, it was brought up at least once. I mean, Reese is not exaggerating.
I'm actually feeling a little bad for Jeff.
Don't
Yeah,
feel bad for Jeff.
it's no, and you know what? Don't feel bad for Jeff because what's beautiful is Jeff is so confident in his abilities and himself. None of us laughing at him right now will shake a leaf on his tree, guys. I actually kind of admired that about Jeff. I am the least confident. I have the lowest self-esteem and he just bulldozes his way through any feelings and it's just like, I will
Chan-
survive. I will
channeled
survive this.
channeled properly, it's an admirable quality. It is an admirable thing to do, channeled properly. Yeah. I mean, the guy
Yeah.
has, you take the hottest girl, and she is not as half as confident as Jeff Corbell.
No, I've never seen I don't know about you. In my
No.
whole life, I'm only I was gonna say 39, dang it, I'm 40. I'm only 40,
Mhm.
but I'm not kidding you when I say this. This is the absolute truth. I've never met anybody with the confidence that that man has. I've never seen it.
And it's not fake. That's what's quite
It's
why
not
like
fake.
I can fake it, right? I can pretend, right? But it's real. It is so fucking real.
And I've also read like about narcissists and all that. Like they say they're actually secretly terrified that I
Mm-mm,
don't see that. I don't see
mm-mm.
that.
No,
It's very real.
the
Yeah.
man is terrified of nothing. He's
And
not
JR
terrified of
says,
this.
no, I guarantee you, he's probably watching right now. I'm sure he is. And I'm sure he's laughing at this, going, she's such a liar. It does. And before I moved out, he said to me, he goes, say whatever you want. He goes, it doesn't matter because the people who matter in my life know you're full of shit. They know you're a liar. And that's all that matters to me is that the people in my life know you're a liar. He was like, the thousands of people that are going to watch you, they don't know you're a liar. So they don't know what to believe because you're a good liar, but you're a liar. And that doesn't matter to me. And I was
Reese
just like,
isn't lying about any of this. I I
okay.
I I catch what I can. I haven't caught all. I haven't skimmed through last night's video. Reese has not lied about any of this, and it's easy to tell someone you're imagining this. It's all in your head. It's not real. You're indoctrinated into Scientology. I've I'm not indoctrinated into Scientology. I'm pretty logical. I You're not going to convince me that I did not see what I saw. Period.
Okay. I appreciate you saying that. And Ryan, when is your wedding? I don't even think he knows.
I I you know we're I think we're just going to elope. We're going to go somewhere, just the two of us. 5 minute ceremony out on a beach somewhere, and true, I've never done that either. And then yeah,
None of us have ridiculously drawn.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah. Look at the backside of his business card. Oh, look, it's a naked jester lady.
Oh my god, I never saw that.
Yeah,
Did I
they're on
ever
the
see?
back of his business cards.
What the fuck, man? Okay.
Yep. And then, of course, there's a little naked Billiken too. We can't do it without him.
Sorry, probably. I just got you demonetized already. I apologize.
Yeah,
Me
you
and my
probably
mouth.
did. Baby steps, confidence. It's okay. You can just you can Venmo me some money that I've lost. Confidence is different than arrogance. Yes, it is.
He's
Yes, it
both.
is. That's a good question. But I do want to just show this one more time because it is hilarious. Just one more time. We might show it again actually before the feed is over because I can't stop laughing. The chillest. Can you imagine getting that tattooed on yourself?
No. And I got lots of random ass tattoos. So
Anyway, what was the first thing you noticed as a red flag? That's a good question. I think I know the answer to that.
easy answer. Easy answer. When Reese
This
comes
was
into
even
the
before you
office,
met him.
before I met him, I'd never met the man. Reese comes into the office and she's like, my husband, he told me he goes to these parties, can't have a phone, it's for 5 days, blah, blah, blah. It's like that meme. What meme? You know, what does this mean? And I sat there
How many more
at,
red flags can I wave for you?
I sat there at work. And I remember Reese because I was sitting in the corner where Alexa always sat. And I had my laptop and I'm like, I mean, it sounds like hookers to me, but I don't know. It literally sounds like hookers. Is that not the first thing I said?
Yes, it was the first thing you said.
The first thing. And Reese, for her credit, very trusting woman. No, that's not it. That's not it. I'm like, I don't know. Like it sounds like
Also not
hookers.
trusting, but naive. I was very naive. I was in Scientology. Like, I didn't think there were underground, like under the table sex parties going on.
Naive. No. Naive would be thinking that everything is on the up and up. Nothing is suspicious. Everything is exactly that is being naive. You are not being naive. You because it was a red flag for you. You yourself were like, this doesn't sound right. This makes no sense. Why are you going somewhere for 5 days? You can't have your phone. No, you weren't naive. You were trusting because you knew something was off. You did. You told me something was off. I'm the one that's like, it's fucking hookers, man. Like it's a hooker party. And Reese, to her credit, no. And it wasn't what, a week or two. You called me after work, like, you're not gonna believe what I found. And I'm like, hookers? And the floodgates opened. It was just downhill from there.
And then I showed you everything that I found. And even I think at that point you were
Yeah.
like, whoa, this is darker than I even thought.
It
But I don't want
because
to put words in your mouth. Tell us what you thought.
no, you're right. Because in my mind, like it went beyond hookers. It did. It literally, it's as I think Tommy has pointed out, it went from hookers and paying for blowjobs here and there to actual trafficking. Like a coordinated, very organized effort to traffic women. I never thought it was that. Call me naive. I never thought it was that. I thought it was guys going, getting off, playing poker, sneaking up to a room, drinking scotch. No. I'm not saying that doesn't go on, but it's much more coordinated, much more than just.
And it is much
buying a
more
lady of the
why,
night.
because I found the proof of that, right?
Yes. Oh, I
Like
mean,
you saw
black
it,
and
you
white.
saw it with your own eyes. This wasn't me conveying it
Yes.
to you. Guys, Ryan was
No.
the first person that I gave everything to. As a matter of fact, Ryan and I, April, that is so kind, by the way. You are eloping. We did that 29 years ago. That's amazing, girl. Congrats. Ryan and I actually came up with a plan because I had no friends in Scientology. I didn't have any friends outside of Scientology. Ryan was my one friend. I was friends with Michelle, but I think that was kind of off and on. And Ryan was someone I spent time with every day. I went to work every day with him. And we immediately came up with a plan. I mean, he was even like, okay, we need to make sure that you stay safe on this. So Ryan took copies, and I trust Ryan, and I still do. Ryan took copies of everything, and Ryan is so much better on technology. So it's all encrypted, and he held on to everything. And I made it clear to him. I said, if something happens to me, because at that point, Jeff had started saying things that were a little bit creepy. And then some of the jesters, I'm not going to name, came to me and said, do you want something to happen to you? Do you think you're the first one that found out about this? Come on, girl. We've been around 100 years. We're full of judges, lawyers, politicians. You're not going to make a dent in this. And that got kind of scary. So all I could do was say, here, take this for safekeeping. I was like Leonardo DiCaprio at the end of The Departed. Remember when he gives to the girl? He's like, if something
Yeah,
happens to me.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And it was
yeah.
like all the transcripts.
Reese literally said, "If I end up in a ditch somewhere, it was not an accident." Like
Yeah. I
there
want
was a
you to
time. I don't think so much now, but there was a time where you were actually like scared, and I don't
very,
blame you. I don't
very.
blame you at all. I
The
mean, when
time I was
you,
scared was the time they actually threatened me, and I thought, I
yeah,
mean, I wasn't scared for me, I was scared for my kid. I was scared that they would do something to my child,
I
and
think if you, I think if it had just been stopped at they pay for blowies, I think if it had just stopped there, it would be one thing. But everything that you found, it went so much deeper than that, and that's when, rightfully so, you actually became scared. And then, yeah, once they threatened you, you know, as you say, and I heard Jeff say it. Jeff said it to me. We can touch on that later if you want. Um, but I forgot where I was going with this because I'm just so like discombobulated just
you
even
heard
talking
Jeff
about
say
this. It's
what?
that it's all in your head. It's all in your
Don't
mind.
oh, I was gonna
You're
say, I don't want you to name other names of jesters right
no
now,
no no
but
no
what did
no
you hear
no.
him say?
It's okay. Well, first, I heard Jeff tell you like it's all in your head. It's all in your mind. He said that in front of me. He told you when obviously I wasn't there. Why threaten someone? Like why threaten someone if it's all made up? Anybody that I'm sitting around that you know anyone can be like Ryan goes and he traffics women and he pays for sex. I don't care. I'm not going to threaten him because it's obviously not true. Why threaten someone if it's not real? That's the thing. So there was like half of the push was trying to gaslight you. And I told you that too before you even started saying, I'm like, that's just gaslighting. Like, you know what you saw, right? Half the effort was gaslighting you. You're imagining it. It's not real. It's made up. You're fucking crazy. Then the other half was shut your fucking mouth. Don't say anything about it. Don't talk to anybody. Don't tell anybody what you found. You cannot have those two scenarios reconcile with each other. It's either real or it's not. Pick. Obviously, we know the answer.
And you heard Jeff say that from his mouth,
From his mouth. Jeff said it to me.
that I'm making it up.
Yes, a couple weeks ago. Remember? Well, it was probably a month. You've been in Tennessee for a while. Jesus Christ,
Like
my time
5
is
weeks,
okay. So,
4 weeks, I don't know.
oh, this is all right. So, I told you, Reese, when Reese was finally gone, I reached out to Jeff
Okay, and I
because
want you to speak up because there's background people talking in your background.
if you need me to go outside, I can.
You don't have to go outside, but it's just somebody like
Okay.
at least you need to overpower the sounds because it's
Okay.
kind of. So I want to hear
So,
this part, and I want the crowd to hear this part.
so when Reese officially moved out of state, when Reese moved to Tennessee, I texted Jeff. And it was basically, I said something along the lines of, I wasn't trying to inject myself in your guys' situation. It's not my place. I know Reese is gone. Are you doing okay? I was expecting, I'm okay. I was expecting, I'm fine. I was expecting F that B. I was not expecting Jeff to call me. And he did. Jeff called me. One of the first things out of his mouth wasn't, hi, how are you? Long time no talk. It was, Reese is a Scientologist. She made all this stuff up in her head. She's been indoctrinated. She was attacking me. She was pushing me away. I did not record the phone call. No shade against Reese. It's not something I, one, believe in doing, but two, I didn't also think of it until we were halfway through the phone call. But that's how the conversation started. And he's telling me this, like, he doesn't know that I know, and he does know, right? And I remember saying, I was like, but Jeff, I'm like, it's not all fake. I was like, you used to do it in the past, right? Like you did used to do that. And he said, yes, I did, but I haven't since we've been together. So
is it real or is it not real?
that's the thing. And it's like, it's not my job I wasn't on the phone call to hammer him or anything like that. But in my mind, and I think I told you this after I called you when you got off the phone, it's like he was trying to convince me that it was fake, not knowing that we talked about it at the Pendergast. Like Reese brought it up, and I was like sitting there like wide eye, like I'm not saying nothing. And Reese said, Jeff knows that it's okay, because we were talking about the morality of prostitution.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a Tommy. I am not a Jeff. I am not a libertarian-minded individual. I don't think it's ever morally gray or morally right. I, in fact, think it is always morally wrong.
What do you mean when you say I'm not a Tommy, though? Because I really don't know what you mean by that.
I think I've caught a stream with Tommy where he's like, I understand sex work. I'm not anti-sex work, whatever. It just needs to be controlled. I don't agree with that.
I don't necessarily disagree with that, but okay, go on.
Which is fine, right? But that was the conversation. That's when it was brought up, and I was like, okay, fine. If you're asking my opinion, and I flat out said at the cigar lounge, which we spend a lot of our time at every week, actually, I literally said, I'm like, it is wrong. It is, to me, it is always wrong. And then we kind of got in a conversation. It's the oldest profession in the book, and I'm like, I don't care. Age doesn't make something right in my eyes. I always think it's like taking advantage, whether it's porn or prostitution. Look at look at all these porn actresses that kill themselves, right? Total side note, right? But I'm not a libertarian-minded person on this. So Jeff and I and Reese talked about this in public. And then the next week she's telling me, oh, he's telling me it's all in my mind. I'm imagining it all. It's not real. It's all fake. So it's like, and that in a way, I hate to say, like, offended me, because it's like, if you want to convince Reese that she's crazy because she was in Scientology, I don't agree with that either. But it's like, don't convince me I'm crazy. Like, don't pull that shit on me.
Right, because you had seen everything I had seen.
I saw.
I remember it used to make you
eyes.
angry when he would say I was nuts, because Ryan was like, I've seen this stuff. I've seen everything you've seen. Yeah. So it kind of got under your skin, because he was like, you're nuts. You're crazy. You're
by extension, he was calling me crazy. He was calling me a liar. By extension, he was saying that I was attacking him. Not directly, but by extension, that is what he was saying. And that made me angry.
Of course it did. Also, we knew the truth. It's so frustrating when you know the truth and someone's saying you're a liar. I mean, that's just so hard to live with. So I'm glad that you put this all out there so that people can know that this came from you heard it from Jeff's mouth with your own ears. So guys, Ryan, all these years, and I have this plan, and it started to die down. The fear died down for me quickly, but still, every time I would get a new audio or a new piece of information, I would send it to Ryan immediately. And I was like, hold on to this, put it in your locked file. And he kept everything for me. And I remember, and no one knows this, Jeff to this day, he'll know it now, because I guarantee you he's watching. But if you recall, Huxley, it was a weekend and Huxley was at his dad's, and this was years ago. And I remember Jeff and I got into a fight, and it got physical and it got ugly. And he took my car keys. Do you remember I tried to leave. I wanted to get away from him. I was terrified because I didn't have anybody in the house with me. And he took my car keys and he was like, you're not going anywhere. And I thought, oh my God, I was shaking. I was terrified. I was like, I don't know what to do. And I went and found my spare key. He kept my spare, but I had one other spare that he didn't know about. And I went and found my spare key, and it was like midnight, and he had gone to bed with my keys. I don't know what he did with them. And I grabbed, I didn't have Bo, did I? I grabbed Gertie. Yeah. And I grabbed Gertie and I drove to Ryan's apartment. and I slept on your couch. And I remember I cried and I was all freaked out. And Ryan was like, Reese, he was like, I'm not a believer in divorce, but like he has crossed lines that is not a marriage either. Like you've got to make a decision. And I
Yeah.
don't want to put words in your mouth again, but if you recall that night, I remember it was terrifying. And
Okay.
and
Oh,
you helped me turn off the remember I drove, you were like, "Don't come here yet." You had me drive to a Quick Trip, a gas station, and show me
hmm
how to turn the tracker off on my
yeah.
phone because Jeff tracked my phone.
Jill
And
Anderson. It's a Tabernacle by Foundation Tobacco. Yes, I remember that because that's when I was with my ex at the time. I'm like, oh my god, if she finds out you spent the night here, oh my god,
which
all
if
hell's gonna break loose.
anybody who knew us besides your
Yeah,
crazy ex
yeah.
knew that you and I have a very sibling-like relationship, guys. One, we all know I like old men, but there's never been that between Ryan and I. There's no
No.
other way to describe it. I mean, there's just not. There's never been.
Despite the gray, I'm much too young for our girl Reese.
It's
That'll
not
never
even that,
happen.
to be completely mean to you, you're also just not my personality type.
And you're not mine either. It's
Exactly.
great. It's great.
It's not so it wasn't about that, guys, but, I remember you helped me to turn off the tracking on my phone,
Yeah.
and then you had me drive to your apartment, and I spent the
hmm
night, and
Yeah.
I remember I came home with Gertie, it was a Sunday morning,
hmm
and Jeff was there
Yeah.
and didn't give a holy hell. He was like, "Where have you been?" And I was like, "I just left for the night." I said, "You scared me. You took my car keys." And he was like, "How did you leave?" And I said, "I found a key." And he was like, "Why didn't you let me know you were going somewhere?" He was like, "That was concerning." Like it was very Jekyll and Hyde. He just
That
flipped back.
it freaked me out hearing that because I
Yep.
was expecting a blow up. I
That
was
was the case
expecting
with
you to
him
go
all the
home
time.
and all hell to break loose. I was expecting you
I
to call
can't
me
tell
again.
you how many times he would have a complete psychotic break screaming in my face. And when he would stop, yeah, I don't care if it was an hour later or the next day, he'd walk by me and he'd either go, or he'd go, "Well, hello, sweetheart."
People like
And
to
I
throw the word
remember always
narcissist
being
around.
like, "Yikes."
Yeah.
He would just flip and he never apologized. He would act like it never happened. It's a new day. Um, yeah, it never, there was never like,
Yeah.
let's talk about what happened there.
I everybody, more women than men, throw the word narcissist around. And I don't know if Jeff is or is not. I can see it. But I truly wonder if there's like some sort of like bipolar or something like some chemical switch that flips. I mean, it's fucking insane. Even
It's
in the
something,
same day.
Ryan.
Yeah.
I agree, but I almost wonder if it's more schizophrenia type because I talked to my
Yeah.
therapist about it and he was like, he's definitely not bipolar because he controls
No.
it. He said bipolar, it's like you can't control the emotional rages and like the things that happen. Jeff would be super smiley and nice until we got through the front door and shut the door. And then he would lose his mind. And then he would, get a phone call or something. And then his mom would call and he'd be like, "Hello, mother."
So
Like
do
he
you do
would
you think
control it.
do you think he was just like suppressing
Thank you,
all
squirrel
that
girl.
around? I guess I've never asked you this, so this is a good place. All that, like the positive, of which there are positives to the man. Do you think that was just being suppressed around everybody else, and he just couldn't handle anymore once he got once that front door shut, and it was just you, him, and Huxley? Do you think that was just like it just bubbled over? I've
Ask
never
me
asked
again.
you
I don't
that.
understand.
Do you think that raging, screaming, physically abusive, do you think that is just suppressed all the time in everyday life, and once he gets alone it just boils over and he can't control it?
I think so. Yeah, because when it did boil over, I mean, I said I would have spit all over my face and my glasses because he would be like this mic in my face, like, "Rah!" I mean, he would just be screaming. It wasn't just like raising your voice, it was spewing saliva and screaming. And sometimes it would get physical and he would do that. So,
And I have no patience for that. One of the reasons that I did spend a lot, and I don't want to downplay this. I did spend a lot of time with Jeff and Reese together. I spent time with Jeff alone, not even alone, but just me and Jeff with no Reese for one evening, basically. And I told Reese, I was like, I was raised, you are the company you keep, right? And I have a hard time bringing myself to associate with someone that is so wildly different, with like such wildly different actions and morals than myself. Like, if you're going to marry someone, Reese, right?
Love you,
If you're
dirty
going to
mouse.
if you're going to marry Reese, like I believe, and we touched on this on the last live, but whatever. I have very traditional views on marriage for someone that's never yet been married. I do have very traditional views on marriage, and especially if you treat it as a religious institution, which Jeff claims to do. Like, Jeff claims to be, I believe, a Methodist, correct?
Yep. And he
Okay.
stands pretty hard on being a Christian. He'll tell you he's a Christian.
Which is fine. You are supposed to like put your spouse before anybody else. And when I realized that he would never do that, I felt, and I told you this several times, Reese, I was like, I feel bad that I'm not talking to the guy. I feel bad that, I haven't done this or done that, but he's so wildly different value and moral wise from me. I don't feel like I can. I mean, do you remember me saying that multiple times?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, and how many times did I say I feel bad because of this? I feel like I'm being a bad friend because of this, right? But it's like I can't. Like, man, it's sucked all around. It did. It sucked.
It did. But I think before we get into the next topic, which I'm going to bring up here, I just want to say that as terrible as this behavior is and was, and what I went through and what Ryan saw, it's, to me, I don't know how else to put this, but it's real. Like, when he says, like, you now have to be punished for what you've done.
Yeah.
It's not like he believes everything he says. He's not being fake. He's not a phony.
He's not lying when it comes to that.
I don't know if I'm saying what I'm trying to say, Ryan, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like,
I get exactly what you're saying.
A lot of people, to me, are just phonies. They say one thing, but they do another, and they're smiling with a knife behind their back. That's not him. He's very genuine as far as being mean. It's genuine. Like, he believes everything he'll tell you. Like, the fact that he's like, tell him the cellist is here. Tell him Councilman Quibel's here to see him. He's not being a dick swinger. That's really how he feels about himself in his mind.
He's a dick swinger, but he's not trying to be a dick swinger.
No, it's what he believes. Like, he's just that confident in himself. I guess what I'm trying to say is I've seen the opposite, where like somebody is trying to bring it to the table, but they're just a total fake. And like,
Steffi, you are right, Steffi, 110% correct. Yes.
I don't know how, I feel like this isn't coming out right. It's,
it is. Course,
well, people
it's
are
not
probably
an
sitting
act.
here going, but he is a fake. Yeah, but I mean, he's not. It's not. No, that's a good word. It's not an act. It's not an act, guys. And if you met him, you would say, I don't get it. He's super nice. What are you talking about? He is really nice.
But he's also really not.
But he's also really not. But he's not two different people. He's just believes in punishing and, abuse when it's necessary. And, that's what you get. You asked for that, and that's what you get.
And he told you that
needs to happen.
He'll
double down.
Times.
He'll double down, guys. He has put his hands on me, and I'll bring it up months later or the next day, and he'll go, well, you heard it in the audio last night. You asked for it. Maybe next time, don't have such a bad attitude.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I need to scroll through that one from last night. No, yeah, I've heard several of those.
I played it last night. It's like a minute, maybe at the most. Tell me if I'm happy to play it. Hold on just a second. Yeah, I mean, this actually pertains to what we're talking about, and this is a really good example. Hold on just a second. Let me see.
They're nice if you obey them. Yeah.
Hang on. If it's okay if I play it, you guys, I don't, just everybody mute if you don't want to hear this for this 1 second. But so tell me, Ryan, because I'm on my microphone. Tell me if you can hear this when I hit play.
And you're either going to help me solve.
You can hear that. Okay. So I'm going to play this, guys, just for a second. And this is important because this pertains to what we're talking about. This is going to be upsetting. But this is a great example right here.
And you're either going to help me.
Let me first of all say we're talking about Huxley here, just to preface. He's talking about Huxley when he's what he's talking about.
And you're either going to help me solve it or I'll solve it by myself. But he better stop the smirking and the laughing
He's not
when
your
he's
problem.
being disciplined. You're not my problem either, okay? He's the problem. He's my problem. He will obey me when I discipline him or else. Is that clear?
You will show respect or else.
No, you will show respect and he will show respect.
Jeff,
your disrespect is what's
put
driving
your hands
this.
on me in front of him. You will not do that.
I am sorry, but you asked for it.
Oh my God.
And
you
I'm
put your
sorry,
hands
but-
on me. You put your hands on me in front of him. You will not do that again. I'm sorry, but you asked for it. He doubled down.
I'm sorry, but when someone makes a statement and then they say but, they don't mean anything before the but. Right? Yeah, I don't agree with that. I mean, so Natalie's kids, they are not my biological children. We have different views on discipline. Okay, she's younger than me. She came from I don't want to use the word abusive. I don't think it's abusive, but she came from like not the most loving house. I guess is the way she would describe it. So and we've talked about this. It's not a secret. I'm not talking bad about this girl by any means. I love her more than anything. But she has different views on what kids should be able to get by with and allow. I am stricter. I think most men usually are when it comes to raising kids. I think the man is usually the more strict one. And you can kind of back this up with what's the scariest thing for a mother to tell her children? Wait until your father gets off, right? Like no kid wants to hear that, right? But I would never in my wildest nightmares ever say anything like that to her raising these kids. You know, I believe because I'm not their biological father, and Natalie will disagree with me on this. She has disagreed with me on this. I believe that there is a certain point that I, as her biological father, I cannot take discipline too. I just can't. And then it does come on to her. Jeff did not have that boundary at all. Right? He took it beyond what I think a normal father even would, because of the deep-seated like obsession in people respecting him. It's not just those around him; it's his stepson, ex-stepson, and you, right?
Yes, but what is it about? Like you heard me say in there, you will show respect, and he said, "No, you will show respect, and he will show respect." And the whole you will obey me when I discipline him or else. I mean, it's all just extremely like, I mean, it's just so control and scary. I mean, he's intimidating. He's instilling fear by saying that. And if you heard me say, you put your hands on me in front of him. I mean, he was willing to do that in front of my kid. So, that pertains. I'm glad we played that. I'm sorry it was triggering for some of you, but that pertains so much to the behind closed doors. Once we get home, that's the Jeff no one has ever met. He would never have behaved that way in front of Ryan.
He got mouthy with you a little bit, never
not to that degree.
Never.
No, he was willing to get mouthy with me in front of you for sure, but it was never over the line, like psychotic, you know, that, yeah. So
I feel like Jeff everybody wants respect, right? But I feel like instead of earning that respect by leaving certain groups that you should leave when you're married and changing certain behaviors that you shouldn't do. It was, I'm going to get respect by beating it out of people. I say people, but you, right? I mean, instead of just like being someone that your family wants to respect because of how you comport yourself. I see a lot of people. I've been more scared of my mom. I always thought I was more scared of my mom until my dad came home. True story. But no, I think Jeff. He didn't want to put in the work. I hate that phrase, but he didn't want to put in the work to be respected. He wanted the shortcut to it. He wanted respect through fear, not respect for respect's sake.
Right, right. That's a good point. So the next thing I want to bring up, which is interesting, guys. When we were getting married, Jeff had and I didn't know much about this stuff, the jester stuff. He had a bachelor party.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I thought he was just having a bachelor party. I didn't realize the jesters were throwing him a bachelor party. It was specifically a jester bachelor party, I would say. Well, had I known this, I wouldn't have invited Ryan. I asked for Ryan to go because I wanted Ryan to be his designated driver. And Ryan agreed. And so I kind of orchestrated that behind the scenes. I didn't realize this is a jester bachelor party. And it was okay because Jeff was like, that's fine. I'll have it, because none of the jesters were going to drive him because according to, right, you saw they were all drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was drinking pretty heavily. And they had the party at a bar.
The Pinter Bar.
And okay. And they had I know this because I saw it. They had a big poster made for him, printed with naked women on it. Funny story. They tried to print a giant poster with naked women, but the printing company wouldn't do it. So it was just, and I actually came across a picture. I meant to send it to you. I will go find it again. Hold on. You did send it to me.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
It was just scantily clothed women because they wouldn't.
That's right, because they wouldn't do it. Oh, that was so terrible.
I'm about to send it to you right now. Again.
No, you sent it. I have it.
I did.
Right here. So what the funny thing about these dumb friends of his,
I know what you're going to say.
I post on Facebook. I have to explain what this means. I posted on Facebook years ago a picture of Jeff. We're happily married. I post a picture of him, and I said, "Look at my little chicken tendy," and he was mowing in the yard. And one of the jesters commented on it and said, "Oh my God, chicken tendy, move over, chillest. We're going to call you chicken tendy from now on." Yep. And they started calling him that. Jeff told me he would go to parties and they'd go, "Look, the chicken tendy is here." And they would make fun of him. And he really didn't like it. So also, this was Jeff's third marriage. If you were a good friend, you would know that. So they make this poster, and I forgot, You're right. They've got women on it with their boobs covered and an ass, but you're right, the printing company. So it says, "Congratulations, chicken tendy. Second time's the charm."
Second time.
And that's a huge poster. They had that made.
It was huge. It was probably 10 feet or more, honestly.
Yeah.
It was massive.
It was huge. And that came home with us. And I was like, "Oh, great. Thank you." So
second time's the charm.
Second time's the charm. Yeah.
And
so anyway,
the guy that printed, I'm like, I'm like, it's his third marriage, right? And he was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, it's his third marriage, man." "Oh man, well, it's too late to reprint the poster now."
Yeah. What's important is we got the half naked women on it. So so Ryan's going to share this is interesting. Ryan's going to share his view and what happened. I wasn't there, but he didn't drink, and Ryan and I were in contact that night texting because I was like, "How's everything going?" And I wanted to make sure Jeff was okay. And so Ryan is there with all these jesters, and Ryan, tell us.
It was so before the bachelor party, me, Jeff, and one other guy, I forget his name, someone in the Jesters, I guess it was. No. Someone that used to be in the Jesters. This is important. We went to dinner. We had a nice dinner. We drove to the party. because there were non-jesters there, namely me, and I think maybe 2 other men were not in the jesters. It was probably more in control because of that, right?
His brother-in-law went, and his
His
brother-in-law
brother-in-law.
was not a jester. Yeah,
His
that's right.
his brother-in-law and his brother-in-law's son.
Yep. If
Correct?
there was any way around that, it would have been all jesters. But I know his family would have been upset if they hadn't have been invited. He's not schizo because he would be hearing voices. He's a narcissist and abuser. He has no right to discipline Hux. Glad you're all away from him. Welcome to Tennessee. Thank you, Randy. And I agree with what Crystal said. We're not doctors, guys. I don't know how to diagnose anyone, and I don't pretend to. And it doesn't matter. We heard what we heard, and we know what we know. There's really no reason to label it. It's just abusive. But thank you for your super chat, Randy. I really appreciate that. Okay, so go on.
So it was more low key than probably would make for an awesome video. Like, I can't give you details of blowjob contests and naked women. That wasn't there. There was a lot of drinking.
And you would never see that if you weren't a jester anyway. They wouldn't have had that there.
Exactly. They would have done it somewhere else, not at the Pendergast, right?
Yes, Crystal, he did.
Sister.
R went.
Okay. I thought you were talking to me. Okay. So there was some very long toasts that culminated with screaming Murphys King 3 times. I can't remember the toast. I did not record
That's what the jesters say, guys. Mirtha's king.
It was
they pray to that. They worship
some long
it.
toasts.
Thank you. Thank you, Nico.
This gentleman that we went to dinner with that was out of the jesters was sitting in the party, the bachelor party, which was really a bunch of guys sitting around drinking whiskey and smoking expensive tobacco. That is all it was. Okay. But he expressed interest in, he's like, man, I really want to get back into it. Do you think they'll have me back? And Jeff was like, yeah, of course they'll have you back. Blah, 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 blah. You're a so-and-so. I can't remember. It's a Masonic thing. But what is the name that we decided to use for the man that told you he was coordinating the girls? What name did you decide him? Jason. So at bachelor parties and bachelorette parties,
Jason was there, wasn't he?
Yes.
Oh my God, the guy that's in charge of the girls was there. I forgot about this.
Well, that's key to the story, Reese. Somebody made a comment about, we need to get some girls here. We need to have some fun. This guy, I swear to you, he was drunk. I don't think he would have done this sober. Pulls out his iPhone and is like, "Do you want to get some horse here? Like, I can." And he's like, I can get him here.
Did he use the word whore?
Hooker? No, whore. Yeah, I think so. To be fair, I don't think he was using it in the technical term as the pejorative. Right? I don't think he was meaning in the technical term, or as a Freudian slip. And he was like, I can get some here. Like, he's like, I know some in Kansas City. I can get them up here. And it wasn't so much what was said, but it was the look, not from Jeff. I don't think Jeff heard that. Jeff was not around. I don't know who it was. I don't know hardly anybody that was there. The guy looked at me, and he said, no, not here, not here. And this Jason looked around, was like, oh, okay, right. Put his phone up.
Okay. Now, I know I don't know your recount of everything that night, but you did tell me something that was pretty shocking to me and telling.
Refresh my memory.
There was a newer jester that came in during Jeff's year. Jeff was the director that year. And he had, when you're a director of your group, when you're a jester, they bring in a new group of jesters. They recruit in new guys every year. You can recruit in up to 13. And when you're the director and you can recruit them in under your year, it's called that's your class. And it's your class forever. 50 years from now, they're going to be Jeff, the chillest's class. Yeah. Okay. So this guy was a member of Jeff's class. I'm never going to name this guy, but he's very high up in the army. And he was there, and you told me that he said something about he went to a jester party just recently, And he said to Jeff something like, "Hey, when I got back to my room, I had a really nice party favor waiting for me. Thanks for the
Oh
gift."
my God, I forgot that. Yes. Yes. Again, it's not what was said. Like, you and I, if I'm telling, or like if I'm talking to like my friend Justin, and I'm like, hey, I have a party favor for you. I don't know, knowing him, a box of ammo or something stupid, right? But in context of what we know about this, my brain just ding 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 ding, like what the hell else could it be? What else could it be? But the key was he thanked Jeff for this party favor.
The key was that, but also he said, like, "Hey, thanks for the party favor. I got up to my room and I had a nice party favor there waiting for me." You told me something like that's how it was worded.
Yes. I totally forgot about that tonight. Yes. Party
Well,
favor
later,
waiting for me. Yes.
years later, when Jeff and I were explosive fighting about this stuff, I brought that up to him and I asked him about it. And he was like, "I have no idea. I have no idea what that could be." He was like, I can't even imagine what he was talking about. I don't know. And I was like, "Really? You don't know?" And he was like, "No idea." Hey, I love Better Together. I didn't know the day Aaron outed you, I was going on this journey, but damn, girl, I've never rooted for anyone as hard as I root for you and your true friends, people who show up for you. Thank you, Ryan, for everything. I love her. Thank you for your super chat, babe, and the kind words. I love you.
Yeah, no, that there were a lot of innocuous statements like that that could mean anything, right? But taken in context, simply not saying like, "Oh, thanks for the expensive cigar you had for me. Thanks for the bottle of gin. Thanks for the party. I had a great time. Thank you for the party favor that was waiting for me."
Yeah, it was more that he implied I had a great time with the
Yes.
party favor.
Yes.
And like it was a surprise when I got up to my room. Thanks for sending that party favor to my room. It was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting when he told me that.
Now, I'm not going to get sued and say this person arranged for a prostitute to be in the room, but taken in context of everything that we know and what goes on, that's immediately what my mind went to. And I remember, like, I don't even think I texted you in the moment. I think I told you like the next day maybe, because
You
I was
did.
like, I cannot forget this. I have to tell you this because, again, in context with everything that we know.
Yeah. The thing is, Ryan, and I need to say this, none of this is anything we can prove. None of it I can validate. This is your recalling of that night that you were there.
Years ago.
The guy that had a party favor, that's allegedly, I mean, that's what we think, but we don't, I'm not sitting here saying this is true. I don't have proof of it. I don't know. But putting the pieces together, that's what it seems like to me, but we'll never know. It could have been a bottle of scotch for all we know. I don't know. So the only thing that I can claim and say are the things that I actually have proof of, and I show you the proof and things like that. And we do have, and I say we because Ryan has copies of it. We do have proof of actual trafficking of women across state lines. Do we not? We have proof of airline tickets paid for the girls.
We have airline tickets. We have multiple men in an email thread vetting naked pictures of women. We have
Thank you, Analytical Blarney.
We have emails. This is what was it? What's the one that stuck out? I'm like, this is fucking disgusting. Because my fiance, my lovely bride to be, is a mother of two. She's a mom of two. She's a younger mom of two. We need to get her into the events, or we need to get her to
I think the word they used actually is we want to spread her around the realm more. It was, we want to get her around the realm. She's a mother of two. And then they sent pictures in this email of a naked woman.
Yes.
And they said, she's a mother of two. She's really good at it. We want to get her, spread her around the realm more. We've got pictures of that. We've got
spread her.
We've got
spread
proof.
her around the realm.
Yep. We've got proof of another. We've got a lot of guys in these threads, by the way. It's not just him. We've got a lot of guys' names in these threads. And one of them said, one of them sent like 6 photos of naked prostitutes. and they're all smiling and, in these photos. And one of the guys says, "Oh, perfect. Is there going to be a special hospitality room where we can do a meet and greet and pick which girl we want?" And one of the guys wrote back and said, "Yes, there is a special room. We'll have them all set up and ready for you." And this is not just Jeff's name on this. There's a lot of names in these emails.
To be 100% transparent, I don't, and I'll have to go through them. I don't really recall Jeff so much responding that much as being included. He did, but he didn't respond as much as the other people. He was more included in the threads for the most part.
I think the reason what you're saying, Jeff was kind of a lot more, in my opinion, more the ringleader of some of this stuff. Like he was the one arranging for a lot of it. And like he was the one showing and going, this is so-and-so. Now, not all of them, but there were some of them where he was kind of, seems like he initiated it maybe.
And then just kind of let the emails go. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of men's names in these emails going, "Oh, cool. Okay, I'm going to fly to Boston and I'll pick her." And it's bad, guys. It's real bad. It's proof. I mean, we've got it. And honestly, Ryan, I don't know what to say. I am going to release these things, by the way. I'm going to show them. And Shelly, I know you're sad about it. It is a sad situation, but I will tell you everything I've seen. And Ryan, I want you to back me up on this. These girls are not, I mean, it doesn't make it any less okay. Yeah, they're not doing this against their wills. You should see the emails from the girls. The girls, I'm going to show one of them.
They're asking to be included more.
I'm going to give you do you guys want just a little taste? I'm going to show you something. I love Allison Byrne. I'm so glad that Reese is surrounding herself with people who are honest and looking out for her best interest. Allison, I love you and I love that you're here, babe. Thank you for your super chat. Is Jeff going to be kicked out? I doubt it.
For his own sake, I hope he is. Because again, it's like I said earlier, you are the company you keep. And when anybody surrounds themselves, like this is why drug addicts surround themselves with drug addicts. They will never stop being a drug addict unless they die or go to prison and detox, right? That's why you are the company you keep. And I don't think Jeff will ever become the man that he could be, constantly surrounded by these people.
All right. So I'm going to crop this so that this really disgusting photo isn't in here because it's a very pornographic photo. And I'm also going to crop out any email addresses. Now, it looks like this. It's got little lines in the photo because a lot of these pictures. Now, I have actual emails that I forwarded to my own email. Okay. But I also have a lot of photos where I took pictures of Jeff's computer screen. So you'll see lines on this because it looks like a computer screen.
I think you're right.
Here is from one of the prostitutes. This is from one of the prostitutes, specifically from one of them. And I want you guys to know these girls want to do this. Well, you saw the interview I did with a prostitute the other day. She's making a ton of money. They want to do this. I promise. It's not against their will or anything like that. And as far as I know, they are of age. This is nothing that serious because I cropped out
in Brazil.
The pornographic photo. Correct. So this is from a prostitute emailed out to the men. Vanessa's tour schedule. This is from 2014, and it says, "Looking forward to seeing you soon."
And I remember that there's a very pornographic video with her. And
very pornographic photo with her and another woman on a bed underneath this.
Yes. Well, thank you, irrelevant Panda. That's so sweet.
That's not much. That's barely anything. That's just the tip of the iceberg, what Ryan and I have. Yes. But that's just a little tidbit of these people, are just idiots. They're so stupid to, have this, if, don't keep trophies of this stuff. You really should get rid of it if you're going to be doing this kind of stuff. It makes me think of Hannibal Lecter when she says most serial killers keep some sort of trophies of their victims. And he's like, I didn't. And she's like, no, you ate yours. Be smart about it. Don't keep trophies. At least eat it. Come
but
on.
but it is common for serial killers to keep trophies. I mean, it is. The thing is, these guys are so insulated. They're so insulated by, they only surround themselves with like-minded people. For one, Robin, yes, I think they are proud of themselves for this.
Well, I was going to say, Robin, hold on. When you say they, the women are too. They double down just as much. Look at the one the other day. She's like, I just think I have a bunch of boyfriends that like to take care of me. Meanwhile, these are just married men. There's nothing wrong with that. So the women are also like looking forward to seeing you boys. It's disgusting.
It
I
is.
absolutely hate it.
But the thing is, in today's society, consent is the end all be all. You can do whatever you want as long as everybody consents. Morality doesn't exist anymore. As long as everybody consents, do whatever you want. I, again, disagree with that. I don't think consent is the end all be all. I don't think consent gives you the right to do whatever in life that you want. Okay? I do not believe that. Take that out of the question. Take that out of it completely. This is literally illegal. Consent or not, it is literal trafficking.
Right.
That is what it is.
And that's why, how much did I used to laugh? Remember how Jeff was Mr. Everything being legal? I remember one time. Oh my God. I remember one time.
I know what we got. Go ahead.
Got a piece of mail, guys. We got a piece of mail years later, and it was like, it looked like junk mail to me from our old owners of the house who we bought the house from. I threw it away. I just threw it away. And he saw that I threw it away, and he was like, do you know how illegal that is? And I was like, wait a minute.
You busted out.
What did you just say, councilman? Wait a minute. I was like, you want to talk what's legal? And he was like, you're breaking the law by doing that. And I was like, hold up, cellist. You're out of your league, cellist. Hold on. I want to read this. Do you think Jeff will retaliate by going live to try to expose you, Reese? Narcissist, like, so going live to what? 3 people?
Going live to the Jesters?
I mean, I don't care if he goes live to 100,000 people. What is he? I mean, he would have to lie. What are you going to expose about me? I think I've looked, I'm almost to my 1 year, Ryan, and I've made 500 videos. People know about how short my cervix is.
You told the internet you shit yourself.
I told the internet I shit my pants. I threw my shitty pants on the side of a building. I'm pretty sure if you're going to try to expose something, it's going to have to be a lie. But he may try, absolutely. And don't think I haven't taken that into account. Of course he may try. And I don't think it'll just be Jeff. I think the Jesters themselves are probably going to come up with something to try to, get me fired from my new job or, smear me somehow. Absolutely. I'm sure they're going to do that. Just like Scientology would, guys. It's called fair gaming. I'm so proud of how honest you are. When I left the Sea Org, escaped, good for you. I was so naive. Did you find this stuff extra shocking? Danielle, 100%. This stuff bombarded me. I had no idea this stuff went on in the world, guys. Scientology is not this big sex cult like some people may think it is. To me, it wasn't. That wasn't my experience anyway. This shocked the hell out of me. No, I had no idea. Thank you for your super chat, and I'm glad you escaped, my friend. Ryan, thanks for being an amazing human. Thank you for being a voice of reason for Reese during all the crazy. You are a strong sounding board. Thank you, Analytical Blarney. Somebody else asked something. Oh, Ryan, do you feel in danger for you and your family since Jeff knows you have the dirt? I mean, I don't either, honestly.
Like, I've actually thought about that. I thought about that before hopping on here. It's like, it crossed my mind, right? But no. I guess it's a long way of me saying no. I mean, I did think about it. No.
Okay.
That's a good question. I'll have to think about it longer. I certainly hope nothing happens.
Well, of course we hope for that. I mean, I've definitely gone back and forth about it myself. I absolutely can protect myself. And, if anybody tries to harm me or my son, I'm going to do everything I have to protect myself. I just don't feel that. I don't get a read on the fact that I think, let's put it this way. And I want to say this as humbly as possible, because anybody that says I'm a big deal, I just already am sickened by you. I don't like people who, but I do have a YouTube channel. And I do think if I were to magically disappear, people would notice. I think people would go, weird. It's weird that she just happened to disappear after releasing all this. And I think some people might come looking. I think it would be a little bit hard. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and we're exposing this. I would be shocked if they tried to retaliate physically like that and harm me, because it would be pretty clear. Not to mention, I've said this, Ryan, Tommy, my attorney has copies of this stuff. So it's going to get released whether you do something to me or not.
And
you got to keep that in
what
mind.
makes anybody think that is listening to this? What makes
Jazzy
anybody
girl,
think
no.
that I haven't given it to someone? Like,
Yeah,
don't fuck with me.
I would say that there's probably copies of this stuff rampant. It's out there. I mean, and Ryan can speak to this. We've got some ugly stuff. We've got some seriously damning evidence that's super illegal type stuff. Do we not?
Yes. Yes. Do you remember, Reese, you made a snarky comment to Jeff? You're like, why don't I just... She was joking, guys. She was joking. Why don't I just go do this with the Jesters? I can make so much money.
I said this the other day on a live. And he said that I would have to take up to 20 men a day.
A day. 20.
And what else did he say? He said he thought I was being serious, first of all. And he went, he said, you couldn't do it. It would break you mentally. He was like, there's no way you could be a lady of the night. It would break you mentally. And he was like, but if you're serious and you really want to do it, he was like, you'd have to take up to 20 men a day at a party. He was like, are you up for that? And first of all, I was like, I would rather stick my finger into a pencil sharpener. I was kidding. But he was very serious about it. And he said, you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it.
Which I agree with.
Mentally.
Which I
Thankfully,
agree.
it would break me mentally. I have a spirit, and I don't feel like I've sold my soul. I feel bad for those women because I think they have sold their souls. It's horrible what they've been subjected to.
They know it's wrong. They know it's wrong. That's why with this woman that you spoke to, she literally said, I don't feel like a prostitute. I just have a lot of boyfriends that take care of me. I get tested regularly, but that's not what I do. I just have boyfriends. They themselves, I think, try and rationalize it. And when we were at the cigar lounge, I remember talking about this. This was when, Jeff had found out that Reese told me that this had happened. And we were talking about it, and we talked about how this isn't good for women to do, whether they consent or not. I mean, and I don't know if he was just blowing smoke, but he agreed with that, because that was my point. I was like, this isn't good. This isn't healthy for anybody. I was like, and I said, Jeff, this could not be healthy for you. You could not have enjoyed it deep down. And he said, I didn't. That's why I quit. Do you remember that?
Of course. He said that many times.
Yeah.
So
it's like, it's not good for anybody.
You sold your what, Tommy Gunn Scoville? So it's not good for anybody. And so Ryan, let's touch on that a little bit. He did say in front of you and in front of me many times, and I do have to say this to Jeff's credit, and I think you will say it too. I think you'll agree with me. I believe he did quit. I really truly don't think Jeff had full on sex with another woman when he was married to me. Now,
I know what you're going to say. I would be more inclined to believe he did not do anything physical with another woman.
Now, I disagree with that. I was just going to say, at these parties, they have, as we know, oral contests. I think you can touch all the women are walking around naked, is what we've read and what we've been told. So I think you can probably touch I think you can, Jeff told me like the girls will pour shots off their nipples and the guys will drink and things like that. And I think Jeff has played every which way except probably penetration. I wouldn't be surprised if he grabbed some woman's ass or in the front or touched breasts or anything like that. Now, I'm not saying he did, I wasn't there, but he would say to me, I'm not participating. So gross. Does that make it better or worse? Like that you're sitting there watching blowjob contests? To me, and by the way, guys, that is a thing. They have oral for women and male blowjob and the other contests at these parties. So you're telling me you just watch? Does that make it any better? To me, that's even kind of more gross that you're sitting back just enjoying it. Or I don't believe, and it doesn't matter, guys, because Tommy says this, and I think you would agree with this, Ryan, and I think we would all agree. Tommy said, just by participating at all, you're cheating. You're cheating. I don't care if
Yes.
you touched another woman. That is cheating 100% by going.
It is.
By association, you're a fucking cheater. So that's out the window anyway. How do you win that contest? Good question. Like who gets off the quickest? That can't be good either. But I don't believe in my heart, I really believe, one, because I was almost 30 years younger. How many times did Jeff say in front of you, why would I cheat on her? I get laid all the time. I know where my bread is buttered. Reese has a crazy sex drive. Why would I cheat on her? I mean, it does make sense when you're paying $4,000 a weekend. You can save money by just getting laid at home. Most of these guys' wives are their age and much older. So, there's a difference there. I have a high sex drive. Jeff was coming home and getting laid. So I think that he never cheated that. I don't think he bought a private. I don't think he paid the $4,000. I think though, in the free room, in the hospitality room where they're walking around naked, drinking off their bodies, I absolutely think he did that. I have no question. Ryan, those doors are not only closed, they have off-duty cops behind them. They're not allowed to have their phones in those parties. There's no way to record anything. Come on. Jeff, absolutely, I believe in my heart, was screwing around without screwing around with penetration. Do you agree with that?
It's possible.
Anything's possible.
It's possible.
Say yes.
I don't think he stuck.
You think he had that kind of self-control that he wasn't drinking a shot off of somebody's boob? Come on.
I don't think. Okay.
The peer pressure alone.
I don't think he stuck his dick in anyone.
Okay.
But I would not be surprised if we somehow found out that he did. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I also will say that too. I don't even believe that he got blown, but I think he did it to a woman. I think that he probably
Jeff loves that, so he very well might have.
That's like his favorite thing to do. So I think he probably did it to a woman. I think he probably drank drinks off of their breasts. I think he groped and grabbed with the rest of them. And I think it's like I've been to drug parties before, back when I was smoking meth. And if you don't take a hit, people think you're a cop. What do you think it's like there? You're the only guy out that's like, I'm married. No. Of course there's peer pressure. Come on. You don't think he did what the rest of them were doing?
It wouldn't surprise me. Maybe I just want to still think the best. It wouldn't surprise me though.
I think Jeff got away with all those years by saying I never had sex with another woman. Yeah, he probably didn't. You're talking
about when he was with you, not previously.
Yeah. Oh, he admitted to cheating all up and down on his ex-wife, but I think he could walk away saying my hands were clean. I never slept with another woman. Of course you didn't. But all those shots that you drank off of them and
and like we're calling him Jason. Like he has that arrangement with his wife.
His wife. He said that, yeah. He said, I'm not allowed to sleep with other women, but blowjobs are allowed because that's one less blowjob my wife has to give.
Correct. So, and this is an interesting thing. Like I obviously have my views. That being said, even if his wife is okay with that, and she's, again, we bring up this word consenting, right? And she's consenting to that. But that still would not make it okay. correct? Or do you
To
think
me, that's not okay. I mean,
Okay.
I don't want to step on somebody else's marriage. Look, some people have open marriages, or they do the swing things where, you know, they trade spouses or whatever. I'm not going to sit here and go, that's wrong. I mean, if you want to say according to the Bible, I've never read the Bible, nor am I religious. I know some people have strict beliefs there, and I'm not stepping on that. But if you have a consensual agreement with your wife, husband, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, I'm not going to judge that. As long as everybody's on the up and up and nobody's getting hurt, I've always had no issues with what people do. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care about any of those things. As long as it's consensual, I think that's perfectly fine. Who am I to judge that? I don't pay your bills. I don't know your life. All I ask is that you don't do that to me. So if you've got an open marriage and your wife's on the up and up about it, like for instance, the jester that died, and we went to the funeral and the widow came up to Jeff, winked and said, "Thank God for the jesters. It kept him off of me for 30 years."
Oh,
Verbatim.
Reese.
Verbatim. Those were
that's all in your head. You just imagine that.
right. Verbatim, this woman said that. But that was their agreement. Who am I to judge that? I mean, I think it's effed up. I'm never going to be married to somebody and be okay with it. Clearly, that's why we're here in this moment today, right? There's no amount of money that was going to buy me. I didn't care about country clubs and all those things. So, is this a straight party? No jesters are asking for men. Bad Wolf, I don't know. As far as I know, it's a straight party, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's some guy on guy action. I don't know.
I have my thoughts about that. I wonder if
Thank
as
you,
part
Abigail.
of
That's
being
nice.
like initiated into this, a way to keep people in line is maybe getting some sort of blackmail of them with another male and using that as a keep your mouth shut kind of thing. We haven't found anything about that. Never saw anything about that. But in my mind, I wonder, like, they have you would think like they would have to have something.
It gives me some Epstein vibes. It definitely takes on the colors to me of some like low budget Epstein stuff. Like Tommy said the other day, Epstein people were going to $1 billion island. These guys are going to an Embassy Suites by the airport. So it's a little more low rent, but it gives me the same kind of vibes because I can't prove this, but I have read repeatedly in their initiation, when you become a jester, you take on the oaths and the obligations, and you are given a prostitute at the initiation. Now, I don't know if they blindfold you, but I have a feeling photos are taken then and there. So they're going to say, you want to, go home and run to your family and scream and cry about this to the news, we've got photos of you cheating on your wife. Remember that. I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying that's what I gather based on what I've read.
I've wondered that. Like I feel like that in this group there would be some guys that maybe they're into it, and then they are like, this isn't for me. This isn't right. They have a crisis of conscience, and
That's happened. I know guys that happened to. They demitted. They left.
Okay. I was just wondering if maybe they were using something like that to like keep them in line. Like, okay, you can go, but keep your mouth shut. What happens here stays here. When you leave here, go back
And I
to your
think it
loved
becomes
ones
a
or
bit of a
whatever.
Scientological situation. It's very Scientology because after you've been a jester and you're seasoned, like I said, your dentist is a jester, your plumber is a jester, the guy that works on your car is a jester. And then all of a sudden, if you own your own company or you work somewhere, all your clients become jesters. So it's almost like Scientology where it's like, I can't leave. This will ruin my life. I will lose my wife. I will lose my job because all of my money I make is off of these guys. That's what I think starts to happen, to where then you're a little pulled in a little more and a little more. And then they're like, I can't leave. This will ruin me.
It's like the mob.
Yeah. Are drugs involved? I don't believe so, Bad Wolf. I can tell you Jeff didn't do drugs.
A lot of
I never
liquor
saw
is.
a lot of liquor, but I've never seen them do drugs, and I've never heard them talk about drugs. I have no idea. I can't speak to that. Did Ryan know if Fred was a member? Absolutely. Yeah. Ryan knows everything. Yeah. It is very culty, Afila. It is very culty and control group.
I know Tommy doesn't like the word cult or culty in this regards, but I feel like in a strictly like non-technical level, I feel like it's the best way to describe it. Yes, there's no like Jesus like figure preaching the end of the world, but like the control, you're not devoted to one um, messianic figure. You're devoted to all of your brothers, right? I mean, I think culty is a very, although maybe not technical word, is a very good word. Yes.
The only reason I agree with Tommy there is Tommy showed me that a cult actually implies that you are worshiping something. Now, the Billiken to me is something they kind of worship. Mirth is king, yours in mirth, but I don't know much about what that Billiken means. Tommy says it's just more of a control group because there is no like person that they're praying to or worshiping to. I still call it a cult.
Yeah.
That's just his point of view. I still find it to be fairly culty for sure. I mean,
because you can get your point across by saying this is cult-like as opposed to the very specific this is a control group. It gets the same point across.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it could go either way.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Is there anything else that I'm not thinking of? Because we didn't rehearse this. We didn't say what we were going to talk about.
Oh,
so
very off the cuff. Yeah. I mean,
well,
there's
that's kind of how I do it.
I mean, there's so much in those screenshots. I feel like once we start blurring what you want to blur, and we start getting into those, I feel like more will come up. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like I said earlier. I mean, this is a sex trafficking group, and I posted in the Facebook group. If you go to the IRS website and you type in Royal Order of Jesters, you will pull up the tax exempt forms for all the chapters. And all I'm saying, it's all public knowledge. Court 54 in Kansas City, the person's name on that filed those documents is easily Googleable. And if you search that name, it pops right up what he is the president of in Kansas City.
Yeah, that's true. That it is weird how they don't cover their tracks more. I've heard so many people say this, and it is so perfect. They hide in plain sight. They do. Their names are out there. Like, it's not hard to go down a rabbit hole and find all this, and they do. They hide in plain sight, and I think it's really just super weird. I think it's super weird. What else was I gonna say? Ryan, what was your thought when you left the bachelor party?
I was surprised at how the guys seemed to like love each other.
Yeah.
Like you could tell it was a very, and I don't mean that in like a homosexual way. They seem to genuinely like love
well, let me
each
ask you,
other.
love each other and put what first? Like the Jesters came before my marriage, right? Would you say that Jeff put the Jesters before me though?
No shit. Because if he would have put you first, like he should have when he got married to you, he would have left. And if he couldn't leave, he would just have gone to the lunches and not gone to any of the books, right? Of course he put them before you. He said he would put them before you. He told you. To his credit, the man said, I will divorce you before I ever leave the Jesters.
Before
he told you.
Yeah. He did.
He told you, right? So, yes.
Yeah. And they are particularly, it's like Scientologists, they don't trust anybody but each other. And I think, and we don't know this, Ryan, but I think it's because of all those creepy obligations. How many times did Jeff talk about that? He'd go, it violates my obligations, I can't tell you, or it violates the oath I took. And it was always so like, what does that mean? I'd love to know.
It was the obligations that he took to these other men, this group, came before anything and everything in his life. It's absolutely paramount.
It was his identity. It was his identity. Yeah. And
it
I
is
am
the
going to
most
go
important
through
thing to him.
the most important thing. And one of these days, guys, we're going to get to it. I talked about this. I'm going to go through and read. Here we go. Let's see. I'm going to put this silly business card to cover this because it has names.
Reese,
The
I'm going
bylaws.
to pause. Hey, while you're doing this, I'm going to take like a 2-minute break. I need to run to the facilities. I'll be right back.
That's fine. That's fine. Guys, the bylaws right here. We're going to go over that. Kansas City Court number 54, Royal Order of Jesters bylaws. And we're going to be reading those because I've never read them and I'm curious, like, what does this mean? How are you guys enjoying this, by the way, so far? Do you think this is interesting? Katie, I love you, girl. And I'm sorry I haven't been reading everybody's comments. You know, it's hard for me to do that when I'm not just streaming by myself. It's really hard for me. The reason I don't stop, like, I don't want to interrupt my guest. So I know you guys understand, but I think it's super interesting. And I love Ryan's, that's what I mean. Ryan is very smart and I like his point of view on things. And I like that he thinks for himself. It's not, you know, whatever I think. I really like that he shares his own point of view. I did not want to put words into his mouth. But isn't it fascinating? I mean, it really is. It's disgusting in every way, of course. And it's sad and it's disturbing on so many levels. Very sick and twisted. However, it's still fascinating, right? We find cults fascinating. We find serial killers and documentaries and Dateline and all that stuff. It's just really fascinating. Robin W., no doubt, it is disgusting for sure. But we have all this information, and what should we do with it? Sweep it under the rug? It's just, I'm not that kind of girl. And now that I have the ability to talk about it in a voice, I definitely want to talk about it. And I'm so thankful. By the way, while Ryan's gone, I want to take a moment to say, and I say this every time, but thank you for being here with me. There's a lot of people in here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. It supports me just by you being here. Of course, probably half the people in here are maybe unsupportive, or at least a small amount of people in here, I'm sure, are jesters, guys. I'm sure they're hanging on every word I say to see what I'm going to say, if I'm going to dox them or if I'm going to, I mean, we have to consider that. There's probably quite a few jesters watching this going, what is she going to say? And when is my wife going to find this out? Because it's coming. It's coming. I hope this spreads far and wide. I want this to really get out there. This is not known about. You can't find much on it on Google. How many of you have reached out to me and said, I'd never even heard of this? And when I go looking down rabbit holes, you don't find much. Well, we've got a lot. I have a lot. And I've got everything in this book. And by the way, this is what they say about their parties. I am a jester. What I see here, what I hear here, shall stay here when I leave here. Ryan, how creepy is that?
Yeah.
Jesters. Yeah. Hey, all the jesters in here, please like and subscribe to this. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I mean, if you're going to be here and in the shadows, you might as well come out and be a part of things, right? That's hilarious.
You will be eventually.
You will be anyway. You are going to be anyway. I wonder, Tommy and I were talking, do you think, like, Jeff's going to double down? We all know Jeff's character. He's totally going to be like, I'm not worried about this. I don't care. But I bet there are a few. Tommy was like, I guarantee you there's a few already doing damage control, going to their wives and saying, hey, you're going to hear about this. I'm quitting. Like, I wonder how many of them are going, F this. I have too high powered of a job. For instance, we've got a pretty big, well-known judge in Kansas City that's a jester. According to Tommy, that's not legal. You take all kinds of oaths when you become the office of a judge, right? Saying, like, I'm not a part of any secret societies. Like,
you cannot even be Catholic and be a Mason.
What?
You cannot be in the Catholic Church and be a Freemason.
There you go. So what do you think about that, though? Just while I have you here, what do you think? Do you think there are any that are not like Jeff, that are going, F this, I can't be a part of this, it's too heated right now? Like, I got to tell my wife, I got to get out. I just wondered, Tommy and I were kind of going over that scenario.
So I think you and I talked about this. I wonder if the people that aren't like super high up even know that you're doing this. I know, like Jeff and like maybe one or two or three of his friends in power, so to speak, know. And I wonder if they're like insulating everybody else from even finding out that you're doing this.
Yikes. I don't know the answer to that. But there's a lot of jesters that are in charge of a lot of things, guys. What happens in the jesters will be outed by Reese. I wonder too, like you just said, there's only like one or two. I thought of this the other day. I thought I only reached out to one guy outside of Jeff. Of course, I told Jeff. Jeff knows I know all this, and I told him I was going to expose it, and he was like, "Go ahead, do what you're going to do." But I thought about it. And I was like, I'm going to tell Ryan. Remember, I said, I'm going to tell this person. So I went to this person and he reacted to it with an angry emoji. Remember? And that was it. He didn't respond.
That's it.
Well, weeks went by and I've been exposing this stuff. And I thought about it and I was like, oh my God, I bet none of them know. So I was like, allow me to introduce myself. So I went down the list of a bunch of them that know me. And I was like, hey, I have this YouTube channel and I was wondering if you'd be willing to come on and be a guest. I wonder about all this porn addiction and prostitution that you're paying for. And, you have a wife and children. And tell us, would you be willing to come on Thursday at 7 and tell us about it? Well, none of them have answered me. But I thought, we got to get this story out here. We got to talk to these guys because most likely Jeff and the other guy I told are not going to go say, she's running her mouth about this. They're probably going to keep it tight, right?
Yeah.
So we got to spread that around. We got to tell these guys we're talking about this. So thank you, Rose. What do you think about that, Ryan? I'd love to get one of them. I'd love to get one of them to be like, I will talk to you anonymously because I'm leaving and I don't want to be a part of this. I will talk to you. That would be amazing.
That would be a game changer. You got a lot of confirmation when you talked to Jason for those 10 minutes.
I did. Also, I would like to talk to the wives. It would be fascinating. See, I'm friends still on Facebook with a lot of jester wives.
Including one that I remember telling you, if she ever found out that her husband was participating in these activities, would not
take him for all he's worth.
Yeah, which is a lot.
That one is a lot. That one in particular is quite a bit. These guys tend to be pretty loaded. Now, some of them are not. Some of them I'm like, how did you fall through the cracks? It's bizarre. But I wonder that too. The only thing, Jesters is worldwide. There's about 150,000 members. I feel a little bad. Like Jeff would always say that to me all those years when I would say, I want to expose this. I want to talk about it. He would say, do you know how evil you are? You're going to ruin people's marriages. You're going to break up families and you have no problem doing it. I think he even said that in front of you once. He was like, you're willing to ruin marriages. He was like, I can't believe I'm married to this evil, sick serpent. He was like, you're going to break up people's marriages.
But how? If it's not real, how is it going to break up anybody's marriage?
Let's pretend that he acknowledged that it was real. That makes me evil because I'm going to expose it. So it's better to just keep it the secret and still ruin marriages just quietly. That was like an argument I could never understand. He would say that to me all the time. You are so evil that you even think you're going to break up a marriage. And I'm like, they deserve to know. These women deserve to know. So I've thought about that. Would it be wrong for me to reach out to some of these women and go, hey, something you might want to know?
No. Or even the husbands of the hookers that think their wives are selling makeup.
That's the other thing. I know who all these prostitutes are on social media, and all of them say, like, their social medias say, I don't, Debbie Zito, I don't know of any jester wives that follow my YouTube, but I'm guessing there might be one or two. These prostitutes, a lot of them say, happily married and stay-at-home mom to 2 beautiful little boys. Like, I don't know that these women's husbands know. Jeff told me specifically, they tell their husbands they are Mary Kay sales reps, and that's why they have to travel all the time, and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So
where's their pink Cadillac,
don't think, there was the pink Cadillac. They're still working to get it. Maybe they buy one with all the money they make just to keep the story going. But Jeff told me that these prostitutes told him, our husbands don't know, but we are saving marriages. Jeff said that's the number one message that they would tell him all the time. We're saving marriages. We're helping these guys' marriages.
Which you will hear prostitutes say that if you watch that old HBO show Cat House, pretty sure the
I forgot
the
about
hookers
that.
that they interviewed, they've said, you know, similar things. This is a place for men to act out their fantasies, stuff that their wife won't
So
do.
brainwashed. I'm cool with sex work. See, I'm not like you. I'm cool with it. I'm not cool with these men. The jesters are my problem. Like, I don't know if you know, in isn't there like legal brothels in Vegas somewhere? If you're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
go visit
not in
one,
Vegas,
like,
but in Nevada, yeah.
okay, it just, to me, that's on the up and up. I wish these guys weren't married, but that's not the women's fault. That's their sleazy, disgusting problem. I don't see
Did
an
you
issue there.
did I was thinking before I went to use the restroom, you're like, do you think Jeff put them before me? I obviously knew the answer. Did you tell them how multiple times his friends would like smack your ass and like grab
Did I
you?
tell
And
Jeff that?
I know you told Jeff. He didn't do a damn thing about it. Did you tell the channel?
Oh, many times. Yeah, when I would
Oh,
go to
okay.
these parties where the jesters were, because you have to remember, there was one party a year that the jesters would throw where the wives were allowed, and it was called the ladies' Christmas party. But I would go to Masonic parties and Shriner parties regularly, and there would be 10 jesters there out of 150 Masons. And Jeff would say, "Remember, don't mention the jesters because you can. They don't know." Hold on.
Which a Asun said like, isn't it against like the Masonic oath to be a jester? Well, yeah, from what we understand, and if you search like the majority of the actual Freemasons that know about the jesters, I mean, they hate them. They hate them. They
They
want
hate
them out
them.
of
Yeah. But
Freemasonry
most of the
as a whole.
Masons don't even know who they are. But the point is, I would go to these parties, and well, one of them was at the ladies' Christmas party, and one of the big jesters was there, one of the big ballers, and his pregnant wife was there. And it was the first time I met him, and he came up and he grabbed my ass. He slapped me really hard on the ass and grabbed me. And I was like, I remember freezing. I was so freaked out by it. And I told Jeff and Ryan, I think we even talked about this in front of Jeff. And Jeff was
Hmm.
like, well, I didn't see it. You know, I
Hmm.
didn't witness it. So I don't know if
Yeah.
it really happened. He didn't believe me. He was like, I'm not sure because I didn't actually see it. So, you know,
Hmm.
and I had that happened another few times. That exact same guy did the same thing to me at a funeral, a jester funeral. He came up and grabbed me on the ass really hard. And I told Jeff that, and he was like, well, I didn't see it. And I'm sorry, but I didn't see it. Yes, I've mentioned that many times.
Yeah, the jesters are not recognized as a part of the Shriners, aren't they? Though.
Yeah. So you have to be a Shriner in order to be a jester. If you are not a Shriner, but you are just a Mason, you probably have never even heard of the jesters. But there are tons. There's 150,000 jesters. They're all Shriners. You have to be a Shriner in order to be a jester. So
And you have to be a
I'm
Mason
not
to
going
be a
to.
Shriner.
You have to be a Mason first and foremost, but you have to be, yes. And I'm not going to sit here and say the Shriners are all terrible guys, but the ones that I've met were absolute drunk, disgusting sleazebags. Almost all of them. Not all of them, but they were
There's,
they were really, really inappropriate with me.
remember, we came across articles of the Shriners like having their own like oral sex parties, not
Yes.
even jesters, like
Yes, you can
Shriners.
research that the Shriners themselves have had like hooker parties, like Shriner parties. So I haven't been to one. I don't know if that's true, but I can tell you my own facts about that. I have had a lot of these guys grope me, grab me, say inappropriate things, and I think it's because one, the oath they take, but two, I think they look at women as objects. Women are less to them. The men are the big cigar smoking, mirth is king, and we're paying you to worship us. And that's what we do at these parties. But women are beneath them, they are objects. And I felt that way at every party I went to. I went to a black tie party where a guy just came up and rough grabbed me on the ass like I was just a piece of meat. Like that's just totally okay. So yeah, that's and it
I,
made me
I
very
mean,
sad to be married to someone who was like, well, I didn't see it. So
and that is
sorry.
so weird to me because of kind of how Jeff does present himself, that he would just not care. I'm not saying go knock the guy's teeth in, but like not even say anything to him. I don't know, that
You
did
were
surprise
there.
me.
You remember I remember bringing it up in front of you once with Jeff, and he was
Hmm.
like, I didn't see it. And I
Yeah.
remember you saying, dude, if that was my wife, I would knock somebody's teeth out. And he was like, well, that's you. That's not me. And I didn't see it. And yeah, it's because I believe Jeff can't do that. They're a brotherhood. He can't do that. They probably take an oath saying, like, your wife is property of all of us. I was told there is a group of women called the Jesterettes. Jeff told me this. Are there historical lists of members and locations? I don't think so. But there is a Jester headquarters in Indianapolis. I did not know that. I also thought when they have their national book party next year in April, it's in Florida. We should all go to it. We should try to get in. I've got the bracelet. Maybe I can put on a mustache and pretend to be a guy and get in. We could at least stand outside. Dang, I don't remember what I was saying right before that. And it's
About
crazy.
what were you going to bring up? How Jeff basically said like the Jesters were waiting in line for you once
The
Fred was out of the
Jesterettes.
picture?
Yeah, that they were waiting for Fred to die because they were so jealous. They were waiting who was next in line. And Jeff asked me out at Fred's funeral. And I think it was because he goes, I was going to get you first. I mean, and then he would always say to all the other Jesters, Fred gifted her to me. Do you remember that? He would say,
Mhm.
Fred gifted
Yeah.
her to me. And it was like I
That's
was object. I Yeah, the Jesterettes are apparently, I don't know if this is true, but it's another female group. It's the Jester wives of Jesters who know what goes on, have their own little fun parties when these guys go to the books. So Jeff told me that may occur. He said, you might get invited into the Jesterettes. And if you do, it's kind of your own little fun time to have. And I was like, I will never do that. That is never something I'm going to do. So Tommy thinks that maybe he married me thinking I would convert into, kind of pass me around.
Well, Reese, we kind of know Jeff has that mindset already, trying to get his wife on board in certain situations. We already know that.
Well, and I admitted this on a live on my other channel the other night, and I'm going to say it here because it pertains to it, and it's very uncomfortable to say, but I don't know if Ryan knows this or not, but while I definitely consented to having sex with Jeff hundreds of times, guys, I was his wife. There were many times that I would be upset with Jeff when he would go to a party and come back. I wouldn't talk to him for like a week. And he would wake me up at like 3 a.m. and he would start pulling off my underwear or something. And I would wake up to that and I would put my hand on him and push it away. And I would say, no, I don't want to do this with you. And I would be angry with him, right? I was so angry. And I would say, no. And he would go, no means yes. And I was like, I'd never experienced that before. I've never, ever once had a man do that to me. And he did that several times. He would say, no means yes. And looking back, I think that's because he was so used to paying to get his way. And he was also probably very used to women in general not saying no to him, not saying no. Sexually, he's used to getting women to do whatever, entertainment he wants. So it was just a bad situation.
It was. I mean,
And they're all that way that I met. All the guys I met were that way.
As the actual screenshots start getting like released, it's so easy to sit here and talk about it. You're like, oh, you guys don't understand. Oh, and for those of you that are thinking, well, it's bad, not as bad as you think, it isn't. And I feel like even those that are like, oh my God, this is so horrible, it's the worst thing ever, it's worse than you think. There's things that Reese has that, I mean, if you weren't seeing it with your own two eyes, you wouldn't believe it is going
Your
on.
fucking mouth will drop to the floor. Am I wrong? And you're not easy to shock.
No, I remember when you went through his computer, and I'm like, oh, whatever. And then you were sending me these pictures, and I was like,
Yeah. I
and then
remember you
every
calling me when
time,
I dumped a whole load on you of pictures and you were like,
yes.
holy shit.
And then
Love you, Yadira.
as time went on, you call me like, oh, you're not gonna believe what I found. I'm like, oh, and then you'd show me. I'm like, oh my god, it keeps going deeper.
It keeps getting worse and dirtier and more
It keeps going
twisted
deeper.
and dark and illegal. It's bad, guys. It's bad. And I'm going to start releasing this stuff. Tomorrow, we're going to do an interview with Crystal, Jeff's daughter. I don't know that we're going to talk a lot about the Jesters. I think it's more just her recollections of growing up and, just her experiences. But, and again, I want to keep this all factual. I'm giving my experiences, and a lot of this I have to back it up in factual. This is never going to be a Jeff bashing thing. It's just not. That's not what my channel's about. I'm not going to be promoting hate. I don't want anybody to reach out to Jeff. And again, I hope the best for Jeff, but I really don't want to go into like I hate him and here's why. And I'm not saying that about Crystal. I'm saying that about anybody that we talk about with Jeff. I liked today with Ryan because it was all factual. It was just things that he experienced.
I
I agree,
remember, like,
Crystal, probably.
so I've never talked to Crystal or his ex-wife. I can't remember the woman's name. Like I've never talked to them, but I have sat there with Jeff, and basically everything bad that ever happened was all their fault. Like
Absolutely.
Crystal was disrespectful, disobedient. His wife was crazy. It's like maybe she was, but did you make her crazy?
Right.
You know,
What did
you
he
know what I mean?
say?
Like,
How many times did he say to you, "My wife had a mental illness and it passed down to my children and they're all incredibly
yes,
mentally ill and unstable." How many
multiple
times did
times,
he tell you that story? He sold that story
multiple
to
times.
everybody. And I have the paperwork to prove it from the psychiatrist. And my
Hmm.
my wife was really aggressive to me, and my children
I
sadly
stabbed him
got
or something.
mental. He said that she was very abusive physically with him.
I
I
could
don't
have
know if it's true or
sworn that
not.
I don't know if it was Crystal's mom or the wife before that. He told me someone like stabbed him in the chest.
I don't know about
Do you remember that?
stabbing. No, I remember him saying that his ex-wife, like, threw a lamp at him and punched him many times, and he has scars, and yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if any of that's true. I'm not saying it isn't true. I don't know.
But even if it is true, like, did you drive them or drive
Right.
her to
The
do
point
that
of
to you?
that is everything was their fault. If you remember sitting there listening to him, he would say, "I'm just the victim. I just was so attacked. I was just defending myself. They're horrible people. Sadly, they took on the colors of their mother, and
Hmm.
she's so unstable." I mean, and I'm 100% sure he's doing the same thing with me right now. I'm sure that's the exact same story. I really tried to help Reese, but she was just a Scientologist and she was a terrible mother and just a nutball, and her Scientology
Hmm.
sadly just, overtook her mind. I'm sure.
And I can sit here and I can literally just speak to things that I myself have seen, things that I myself have heard, things that I have witnessed with my own eyes and ears. And he would probably find a way, or he would tell me that I'm making it all up, or it's all
Mhm.
something's all my fault. Or
Oh, you'll never
and to
speak to
me,
Jeff again.
I one of the reasons, like I'm not, and I haven't in a long time been Team Jeff. I was Team Reese and Jeff,
Mhm.
and I did tell you that, right? And I told you, and I'm sure I'm going to get hate from some of the people in here, but I did tell you at the very beginning, he's probably not doing anything. Stop bringing it up all the time. Like you can only like beat a guy up over his past before he eventually like just starts doing the thing that he's being accused of,
Yeah,
right?
you did say that.
As time went on, though, I stopped saying it because it became evident that like he wasn't like I believe if he would have just left, cut the cut the books out, right? If he just would have stopped going, I think y'all probably would have been fine. I do, but if
Yeah.
he's not willing to do that, right? If he's not willing to sacrifice anything, nothing, right? If he's not willing to sacrifice anything, why should you keep your mouth shut about it, right? I mean, if he's putting himself in these situations where he may or may not be doing anything, right? It's like a meth head going to a meth house. Like if you've been a meth head, like why would you go and around everybody that's smoking meth? Like remove yourself from that situation.
Right.
And anybody,
And that's how I tried to tell him, by the way. You remember that? I was a meth head. And I said to him, Jeff, this is no different if I said to you, but these are my friends. Look, I quit drugs, but I'm still going to go to the drug parties because I love these guys. They're my friends, but I'm not going to touch this stuff. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
What? How is that even like, that's not rational and it doesn't make it okay. He was still being around illegal activity. Huh?
Shelly, that's true, Ryan. However, this man was asked by his wife to leave. He did not. That's literally the point that I'm making. That's literally what I am saying, is that if he would have done this one thing, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It would have been in the past. It would have been a checkered past, and he grew, he moved on, he's doing what he needs to do, right? That is literally what I am saying. Like, if he's not willing to do that, why should Reese not confront him about it? Why, when he comes back after 5 days, should Reese not be making snide, shitty comments? She has every right to. And she's in the right. No one can blame her for that. He didn't do his part, but he wanted Reese to just mum's the word. Nothing ever happens. Let me disappear for 5 days. I'll never tell you what actually happened, and you're just gonna go along with it. No, it doesn't work that way.
And I was becoming obsessed, was I not? I was miserable.
Yeah.
It was absolutely miserable.
It's all you talked about.
It was all I talked about for years. Did I not? I was absolutely psychotic obsessed. Why? Because I could only talk to you or him.
Mm-hmm.
He would say, you can't talk to anybody about this. So it was like, I was literally going insane because when I finally would have a conversation with Ryan, I was like, blah, 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 like and he would be like, whoa. And I was like, I can't help myself. And I would say that to you. I can't help myself. I'm going insane. This is making me crazy, because not only do I know what's going on, I have all these screenshots. I got the guy coming home going, you're crazy. That's not happening. You're insane. Do you hear yourself? We've been doing this for 100 years. If we were having sex parties, I don't think we'd get away with it legally. Do you? Think for a minute. Use your brain. Like he would say stuff like that. I was like, but I know what I've seen.
He would say that, and then you would bring up, what about the judge that was busted down in Brazil on a boat with underage
And he would
girls?
say, those are just individual guys that poisoned the whole group. Everybody's good except the guy that got caught. You're just throwing us all under the bus.
Yeah, it's. Crystal said something. I don't believe leaving the Jesters would have fixed things. They didn't make him a monster. They empowered the monster.
I thought it would, but that's only because I was so focused on it. Looking at it now, I know it wouldn't have fixed anything.
I don't know. Probably not. Again, maybe I want to be the optimist. Maybe in my mind, he would have been a monster still, just maybe a less empowered monster, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like he wouldn't feel comfortable doing and saying the things that he did if he wasn't surrounded by that feedback loop that you can do no wrong. You're a god. You're powerful. Do whatever you want. Like that constant feedback loop would just and I feel like empowered him. Would leaving make him a better person? I'd like to think it would have, but I
like to believe that too, but that was because I was stuck in it and it would have been better than nothing. Like I think at the time I was like, if he leaves, it'll be an improvement. Looking at it now and seeing the whole picture for how toxic it truly was, no, I don't think it would have. As a matter of fact, I think it would have made him super angry with me and he would have held it against me. Like, you made me leave my friends and
You guys are probably right. Yeah.
Well, we aren't saying that. I'm happy to say, did his ex-wives do those physical things to protect themselves due to him laying hands? We'll never know the answer to that, Analytical Blarney, but you make a good point. DS Kitty, thank you to both Reese and Ryan for today's live. Thank you, Diane, and I appreciate you being a member. West Coast, thank you for being there for Reese. That's so nice. Thank you, West Coast Fancy Nancy. You guys are always really kind to Ryan, and I really appreciate that. He's a good friend of mine and he brings a lot to the table because he was there. He lived it. He saw it. And it's very validating. I just want to say for me right now, for you, I don't know why, because I know you guys believe me, but for some reason, I think because I wasn't believed for so long, I feel like I have to prove myself. Like I feel like I have to. So by Ryan coming on here, by me playing these audios and showing you pictures, I feel validated, and I just want to say thank you to Ryan for that, because he got to see it. He saw it with his own eyes. He heard it with his own ears.
Well, and it's like, Jeff said, like, oh, you're going to go on and talk to your thousands of people, and he made comments about like now that you're finally getting money and stuff, but I don't get anything from this. I don't have a YouTube channel. I get nothing from this, so it's like I don't have a motive aside from just sticking to what actually happened,
So what
And
actually
I
happened?
have
But
no
you're
problem.
brave enough to come on and talk about it, and you're brave enough to be
Yeah.
my friend and come on and say what Reese is saying is true.
It is. It is all true. I mean, and I cannot wait. Like, we need to sit down on these screenshots, and I will edit and blur and stuff. And I really feel like once we start getting into, because right now, aside from like the book and then that audio of Jeff, it's all, this is just stuff that you're being told, and just wait until you see it with your own eyes.
It's insane, guys, and you will see it, and it is really ugly stuff. It's take whatever you think it's going to be. It's going to be way worse, I promise. With the weird relationship with his mother, do you think maybe his father brought him in all this? His father was a Mason, guys, but that's as far as I know. I don't even know if the guy was a Shriner. I know he wasn't a Jester. So I don't know. I know that possibly he was raised in some abuse, because he had to have learned this from somewhere. And I've said many times, he's a really creepy relationship with his mother. I've said many times when she would call, she'd go, "How's my baby?" And it was just like, oh, I don't like that. I don't even talk to my child that way. It was very weird, very, very weird. So,
And it's very weird how. Oh, sorry. Do you
no,
made it sound like you were getting off? Okay, I find it really weird how, for the longest time, like, everything you said about Jeff's mom was, she's the sweetest old lady. She's an angel on earth. She's this. She's
in the
she's
beginning
that.
she
And
was.
and then it's just like Jeff, like, it just switched, and she was not willing to listen or confront like anything.
No, and she just
You
ended up
you
being very
immediately became
backstabby.
you immediately became public enemy number one because you
Mhm.
were not like swinging
Because I
off
knew
of.
about this stuff. Yeah, because I knew about this stuff. I will say this, and we'll probably wrap it up. When I did my very first live with Erin, when I was outed, do you know what her feedback was? She called Jeff immediately. She watched it, and she said, "Our last name isn't on that video, is it? I don't want our last name on that attached to her." Yes. And I was like, "Oh, so like, I'm proud of you. You just lost your entire everybody you've known since you were born, hundreds of people. You're in a state of depression. Your grandparents to your child are gone." No, this doesn't affect me, does it? That was it.
Which, how would you leaving Scientology finally affect her in any negative way?
It did. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It was just, she wasn't like, how many people, most people would be like, "I'm proud of you for coming out and speaking your truth and all the abuse that happened to you. And you finally talked about it decades later." Like, so you watched that whole 2-hour stream, and your takeaway was, "That's not attached to our last name, is it? I don't
I
want
was
her."
so excited when you told me what happened. I was like, the floodgates are open. Like, oh my god! But I mean, and I touched this on the last video, that the last live you and I did. Like, I remember sitting on your balcony. It was just me, you, and Jeff. No, it was me.
Love you, Ursina.
I think Crazy was there, but I remember just sitting there and you telling us how you were like ferreted out. You like escaped in the middle of the night from Scientology, and it just.
When I left for the first time, I did. Yeah, it was the
So
middle of the
I
night.
was just like so excited. We were like, I mean, and you told me, I remember you told me like, oh, I was doxxed. I'm like, how the hell were you doxxed? And then you tell me the story, and I'm just like, that's awesome. Like, that's so cool. And then when you're like, oh yeah, Aaron wants me to make a YouTube channel, I was like, yeah, go for it. And I remember you're like, who's going to listen to me? No one wants to listen to me. I'm not that funny. I'm like, you're full of shit. The funniest people don't know they're funny. And then I remember you told me, oh, Jeff randomly ordered this microphone, probably the one that you're using. And I'm like,
I don't know about you. You know him.
yes.
I don't think Jeff ever expected this channel. I mean, I didn't expect it. I'm still
I
shocked
did.
every day when you did?
I told you this. I go, Reese, do you not remember this? I said, you're going to blow up. Like, people are going to eat this shit up. This is awesome. Like, you're one, you talk about everything. You talk about pooping yourself. You talk about your cervix. You talk about this. You talk about that. So, like, and then you're funny about it. I remember telling you, like, you're going to get popular. And you're like,
Yeah,
no,
well,
I'm
I didn't
not.
believe
No,
it.
I'm not.
I didn't believe it. Here's the thing, Ryan, and I've learned this about YouTube. When I used to go on Aaron's channel, I would say I got about 10,000 subs from him he's got a huge channel from going on his channel. Guys, it stops there if you can't carry the rest yourself. Like, you have to be able to bring it. You have to be able to entertain. You have to be able to, I've seen very little YouTube, but I have every once in a while clicked and I'll see people who most people don't even do lives. I think like most people do like a pre-recorded, but you can't come on and be like, I mean, you have to have engagement. You have to be able to hold people, an audience. And I'm not saying I'm good at that, but I'm saying I was worried about it. Like, who's going to watch me? Who's going to listen to me? Well, here we are 21,000 people later. I never saw that coming. I'm still shocked about it, but it is what it is. And I don't think Jeff expected that. I don't think in a
No,
million years he
I don't
expected
think he
that.
did.
I didn't
don't think he
either.
did.
I didn't either. I
No.
thought maybe I'd have 500 at the most, like
Yeah, I
maybe
remember
500.
you literally told me that. You literally told me this. I'm like, Reese, you're crazy.
And
It's
now
like, you just
looking
wait.
at it's been a year almost. You have to hustle. Like, you have to really work. This is real work. This takes a lot of work. You have to have the energy. You got to be able to, I mean, I don't know. I love it. It's very natural to me and I love it, but I still like it could be gone in a heartbeat. I don't rely on it.
Yeah,
It's not,
yeah.
I mean,
It could.
Tim
And
is
I think
blue. He's funny.
if Jeff were to have his way, it'd be gone in a heartbeat. But
And I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if these jesters have tricks up their sleeve to try to take my channel down. I'm sure that there's going to be, maybe they're going to come out with some smear campaign on YouTube about, I'm sure it will be like Scientology. They're going to fair game me.
they already tried. I mean, they already tried. That comment that was left on whatever, was it Tommy's channel or was it both of your channel or was it your channel? But it was that long comment about, yeah, Reese, you, and it was clearly Jeff. I know the guy. Jeff wrote that.
Oh, who left that
was
comment?
Like, you
took
married
advantage of Fred,
60, which Fred was broke. I mean, what the hell did you get from being
broke.
with
Yeah,
Fred?
Fred did not have any money. Fred had to move in with me because he could not afford his bills.
Exactly. But it's like you were working at your dad's development for the company and you married a resident 60-year-old. I mean, if that's their shot,
it did sound like Jeff because he used the word appropriate a lot. Did you notice that? Jeff always used the word appropriate, like inappropriate. He would always say to me, "You're very inappropriate, but you don't know how the world works. You don't have any common sense."
So it's like, so if that's what they're going to come at you, that you married a resident, I mean, okay, I am getting married to my ex-employee. Like, I hired the girl, she worked for me, whatever. I mean, that's their shot.
I know. I think it's going to be a tough shot when they do try to take that shot. I'm saying there's nothing I'm hiding. So you're going to have to come up with a lie. You're going to have to come up with some kind of a smear campaign that's like a huge lie. Like, Reese is into something, I don't know. You're going to have to, I'm secretly a drug addict. They're going to have to come up with something.
Let them try that and we can release the unredacted screenshots.
I didn't think about that.
I mean, it's like, shoot your fucking shot, because at the end
that's
of the
the problem these guys don't realize is it's not Jeff's name on all of this. It's Jeff plus about 30 to 40 other guys' names on this.
Including the guy that is president of a local bank in Kansas City that filed the paperwork with the IRS. So it's like, F off. Just F off.
We'll just have to wait and see what they do. You know, I think that if I had some high-powered corporate job, that's probably the first place they would start. They would try to get me fired. That's what Scientology does. You know, they would go to where I make my income, and most of my income I make is on YouTube. And while it's not a lot, I do make some income now on YouTube, and they would have to develop a channel and try to destroy me that way. And maybe they'll succeed. I don't know.
No, because you've got that if that were to happen, I don't think it will. I think they want this shit under wraps. I don't think they're really going to confront anybody about it. But if they were to pull that again, it's like, okay, we'll release the unredacted emails, the unredacted logs, the unredacted this, the unredacted that. It's just, it's beyond like mutually assured destruction. You know, if you destroy me, I'll destroy you. The power imbalance right now, and I know you probably don't feel it, but the power imbalance that is built into this whole thing, it doesn't exist because you got all the facts. You know, so I wouldn't even think that would happen.
I would think it could be tougher if I didn't have all these copies of
100%.
everything. Yeah, I mean, it would just be my
100%.
word saying, I saw this, I heard this, and I don't have anything to back it up. Unfortunately, we have real stuff on here, and I've said it before, but it's super illegal. I did talk to an FBI agent about it, and he said there's 3 things that they're looking for, and it was like specifically, do you have proof of showing girls crossing state lines? Because that is then trafficking. And I said,
yes,
definitely.
That's one.
It was, honestly, I don't know. I don't remember the other 2, but I had all 3.
But yes, we have all 3.
Yeah, we have all 3. And then he said, that's what we look for in a case. And he said, if that's what you've got, then it also becomes, I mean, it's an automatic felony, of course. He said it's an automatic, probably 15 years. And he was like, this is all alleged. Like, if you have all this, I haven't seen what you have. But he also said there's a RICO situation that would happen there where they would all go down. It wouldn't be like just the guys you have named. It would be a RICO situation. And again, this is based on if I were to give over all that stuff, and it's per what they're looking for.
So is this what he was saying? I just did a quick Google search. It's sex trafficking can be described using the action means purpose model. So there's 3 elements. Action, how the victims are recruited and transported, such as through recruiting, harboring, providing, obtaining, patronizing, soliciting, or advertising. I think all of those. Means, how the trafficking is done, such as through force, fraud, or coercion. Well, fraud for sure. I mean, the Rural Order of Jesters is not a charity organization to assist the Shriners Children's Hospitals. And then purpose, why the trafficking is done, such as for exploitation, including sexual exploitation. Is that the 3 things that? Okay. That's it.
And he said the main thing is you have to prove that these guys paid for their travel too. Like, you have to be willing to prove that the girls didn't just cross state lines because they wanted to. He said it's helpful if you can show that they had them cross state lines by paying for it. Well, Ryan, what do we have? Airplane tickets?
Plane tickets.
And
itineraries.
We have itineraries, but we also have proof on that American Express card by the Johns. Okay. We have American Express receipts. We have credit card receipts. I didn't
use their damn credit cards, guys. They use their cards. I mean, good Lord, man.
Yeah.
And that's the danger of like surrounding yourself with yes men and this, I'm going to say that word again, this like feedback loop with everybody around you. You begin to like breathe your own farts, you know, and you just don't think clearly. I mean, Jeff, computer programming whiz, business owner, blah, 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 was logged into this email and the Facebook and the computer. I mean,
and still these guys kept the emails all these years later. That's what's creepy about it. You kept these flight records all these years later. I just caught those. I just found those, 2 months ago? I went through his email one more time and I was like, holy crap, I found more. I found flight records like of many, many girls.
Hold on. Diane Roberts said, is it trafficking if they're age and consent? Yes, it absolutely is. It doesn't have to be forced. they are recruiting them, they are transporting them for sexual purposes.
Yep, they're
That
paying
is
for sex.
that is sex trafficking.
And
That
we
is
have the
sex trafficking.
messages. So not only do we have the flights, but we have the messages from the girls going, okay, so on the 18th, you and I are going to be together in Tampa, and then I'm going to travel with you down to
Yes.
Jacksonville, and we're going to spend these 4 weekends. I have these booked for you this year. We're also going to be in
Yes.
Ohio together. Like, it's the saddest, stupidest thing in the world. It's like all this confirmation of checking every box of illegal,
Guys.
illegal, illegal.
Guys, this isn't prostitution, okay? This is sex trafficking. Period. End of story. There's no other word that can be used for it. This is not merely prostitution.
Love you, Millie. Yeah, it's not just prostitution. That's what the FBI guy said. It is sex
Yeah.
trafficking. It is the trafficking of women for the purpose of that, and they're crossing state lines.
Shelley said, if paying money for sex, yes, it's trafficking. No, paying money for sex is prostitution. Trafficking has those three. The action means purpose model, right? So prostitution be if I'm here in Kansas and I am bored and I go and a girl is like, hey, I'll do this and this for $100. That is prostitution. That is not sex trafficking, right? Not all prostitution is sex trafficking, right?
And this may be the truth here too, by the way, Ryan. I'm worried about the statute of limitations on the receipts you have. That may be very well true. Maybe we're outside of the statute of limitations. It doesn't, I mean, even if we are, we're still going to expose it. And I hope their wives see it. Like, either way, you guys are going to be shamed. I'm
There is
surprised
no statute of limitations placed on human trafficking. There are some places have a statute of limitations in place, but they are often ignored. The reason that there's typically no time limit on human trafficking is because human trafficking victims are often minors and are afraid to come forward. So no statute of limitations.
It says, I'm surprised they haven't booted Jeff out. So Tommy and I were talking about that earlier. I think there's a chance they will. Tommy doesn't think so. And I actually tend to agree with him. He was like, it's safer to keep him in.
Yeah.
It's safer to keep him under their control. Now, they're probably going to treat him like my mother-in-law Scientologist. No
like
one
a leper.
speaks. Yeah, no one speaks to her anymore. She's cleaning toilets for the rest of her life. She's in trouble. They'll probably do that to him. They'll probably, he'll be in trouble and he'll be punished, and he probably won't get all the reap the benefits of all of, what the regular in good standing jesters get. But I do agree with Tommy. It's easier to keep him under control and in, because he's going to be a loose cannon if he's out, potentially.
I often wonder if we had just like dumped everything all at once, if they would have been like, this is overwhelming, you got to go. I often wonder that, as opposed to like this slow trickle. I wonder if that maybe changed the metrics in terms of him not being cut loose.
Who's to say?
I don't know. Hindsight's
Melissa with one S,
20/20.
I am safe. I'm definitely safe, and I can protect myself. Melissa, thank you for asking. I don't know, Ryan. I don't know. And I still think there's a chance he could get kicked out for all of this. They may just say, and see, I don't think they're mad at me. I mean, I'm sure they hate me, but I think, guys, they're probably more mad at Jeff. This is Jeff's fault. I found all of this. Yeah, you think he doesn't take some kind of an oath that, like, he'll never let this stuff get exposed? Hello? What I see here, what I hear here stays here when I leave here. You think that doesn't apply at home in your computer? This stuff is not supposed to get out. So it's probably less me and more them that they're angry with, I would think. So even if Jeff stays in, he's not going to have any friends in this anymore. They're not going to trust him. Can you imagine if he gets a girlfriend? No way.
Persona non grata. I want the judges and lawyers to be exposed, is what this person said.
He's going to have to pay for sex probably for the rest of his life, because he won't be able to have a relationship with anyone. They won't trust that.
I agree. I would love like the higher ups to be exposed. That's not up to me though. I have no problem doxing anybody. I don't care. I don't know nobody nothing. But this isn't my story. This isn't my YouTube channel, so I will do what Reese wants to do. But if I had my way, I don't care.
Yeah, I know.
I don't care.
And we may get to that point. We may get to the point. There is a Jester documentary on YouTube, and the guy doxes all of them. He like lets out all their names. So we may get to that point. Right now, I like the way I'm just taking it at my pace, and I like what we're doing. We're just little by little
Yeah.
doing what I'm comfortable with, and it's all
Mhm.
intriguing anyway. You don't really have to let it all out at once. There's so much to let out. Look at we've been on here for 2.5 hours.
And we
I
talk
mean,
about 3 different things.
yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, we talk about like 3 main topics. We've been on for 2.5 hours. Yeah, I mean it's wild. I will say, because I know it seems like you want to wrap this up. I will say, for shits and gigs, when Reese first mentioned this name, I did a Google Analytics search of Freemasonry, Shriners, Jesters, and Royal Order of Jesters, and the graph at about 6 something
Oh,
p.m.
hold on. When I first started talking about this, the first night, what did you do? You went on Google and did what?
I remember I did that Google search analytics, and I typed in Jesters or Royal Order of Jesters, and it popped up related searches that people were searching, which included Shriners, Masons, and Freemasonry. And the trend went like this. I need to do this way. It went like this, and then about 6:18 Central Time, the spike went.
Yeah. How cool
From
is that? He texted me that, you guys, just from the live I did. All of
the
you went
first
to
one.
research it. And how amazing is that? There is not a Netflix documentary about it. It's on YouTube. And I don't remember what it's called. Does anybody know what it's called? If you just, it's called Billiken something, Billiken. Billiken Bill or something like that. If you just type in the Royal Order of Jesters, it's a 45-minute documentary. And just trigger warning, it is it alludes to some things that are very creepy as far as including animals. I don't know. I can't validate or verify that, but a lot of their little pins, he shows them in Billiken Bill. I think that was it. Yeah. There's a lot of their little creepy pins show a lot with just a lot of stuff with different yeah, he talks about that, and that part was really difficult for me. I don't know what that means. Like this, Ryan, this is creepy. Like, see how he's pulling on that?
Yeah, that's weird.
It's
That's
weird. There's a
really,
lot of it. There's a lot of it. Like, this is not so much, but there's a lot of those little naked things with animals.
I don't
I
understand
don't know.
that. I will say, in all, and we have a lot, but we also don't have a whole lot. I never saw anything about animals or anything like that. That's really weird. I would it's like you said, I would love to find a guy that in the Jesters that has a conscience and is like, I will tell you everything, anonymize me. I would love to pick this guy's brain, because I know, even with everything that we have, I know that we're just scratching the surface.
Oh, I know.
I know that.
Oh, we could dig so like I'm sure, Ryan, we just are at the tip of the iceberg on all the things we've seen with our own eyes. I guarantee you there's more. I guarantee you there's probably some really creepy shit that goes on in those parties that we were like, oh, we didn't even know that. Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny. So my bride to be is apparently watching us right now, and she said that you just showed me that person on the horse. She goes, tell Reese to mention that photo of the girl on the horse that looks awfully familiar.
What does she mean?
The picture of the naked hooker that was on the horse. She was like, it looks real familiar.
Oh, I forgot about that. We have a picture of that, don't we?
We do.
There is a
We'd have to blur her
prostitute.
face.
I
but
forgot
yes.
about that. There is a I forgot about that. There's a picture that a prostitute sent that Jeff had been sleeping with. She sent a picture of herself naked on a horse and said something to Jeff like, I wish we were together. And remember what he wrote back? He said, I'll be your horsey.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Holy crap. I forgot all about that. We have a picture of that.
We do. We need to sit, honestly, Reese, we need to sit down and go through. We need to like categorize this shit and start like blurring what you want to blur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. We do. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we've got some pretty dirty back and forth conversations between these prostitutes and Jeff. Just so you know, how many of those do you think I have? At least 150 back
At
and
least.
how many of them?
Yeah.
How many of them was Jeff like? Don't call me. I'm with my wife. There's tons of them where he says that.
Crystal's mother. Hi,
Yeah.
Chris. I see you in there typing. Crystal's mom. And the one where he's like, I'm slowing down on the privates. I want to work on my marriage.
I want to work on my marriage. Yep. He said, I'm starting to slow down on privates. Privates are the hookers that he would
Not
pay
stop.
for. Yeah. He said, I'm slowing down. I don't want a full stop on it. He said, but I need to work on my marriage. That's right.
Privates are the hookers that you would pay thousands
pay
of dollars to a weekend to, and only you got to bang her that
Yeah.
weekend.
So only the really rich dudes could get privates. Otherwise, they're by the hour. So
Yes.
Jeff explained that to me that he was rich enough that he hired privates. And as we saw in that
Mhm.
conversation, she said, the prostitute said, Jeff paid me $4,000 for a weekend. So Jeff was paying for them. He was buying them for the whole trip he was there. And that's right. I remember those conversations. It was really gross.
Didn't Jeff spend about $60,000 on just one in a year?
He told me that there were times, this is according to him, he said he would spend over $10,000 a month on hookers.
Jesus.
I can't prove that. I don't know if that's true, but that's what he told me.
Well, he did spend 60 grand on a masseuse in a year, and didn't she end up like burning him? Like, is that the one that was like, leave me alone? I know what you're about. I'm
Mhm.
gonna tell everybody, and he like threatened her. What was that? Her or someone
We have
else?
the screenshots of that too. Yeah, that was her.
Yeah, she basically
Man,
said,
I forgot about all this. We've got a lot. Oh shit.
Yeah, no, this girl literally called him out and was like, I know what you and your dirty group is all about. If you don't leave
remember
me
that now.
alone, I'm
See, I
gonna
haven't
tell
gone
everybody.
back and looked at all the stuff we have. I haven't looked at all the stuff we have in a long time. And one of the reasons for that is I tried to, and it made me very triggered. Like I got really shaken up about it. I was still married to him at the time, and it just tore my heart out to look at that stuff. The I'll be your horsey and all that stuff. I couldn't look at it being married to him. It made me so sick. I would cry. I felt sick. But I think I'm strong enough. I could look at it now for sure. I mean, I would be grossed out, but we're all going to look at it.
Randy Pearson, I just don't believe he spent all that money and not have sex of some sort. No, he was. What
Yeah,
we're
that
saying
was before me. That was before
Yes.
me. This was like
No,
2012 to 2017 that this was going on.
no, he absolutely was. And and when we talked on the phone last, I mean, he started, like I said, he's just, I'm not trying to repeat myself or recap, but started the conversation with, Reese is a Scientologist. She was attacking me, pushing me away. She fell in love with this Tommy guy or whatever and broke up his engagement.
Oh yeah,
And
didn't he tell you that Tommy, like he didn't trust him and he's a criminal and he's taking advantage
a criminal, a druggie, a bank robber. It's not even really his name, and he's taking advantage of you. And you're saying all this stuff, and I remember I was like, okay, but you did do this stuff in the past. And he was like, yeah, I did, but I stopped.
I guess that makes it okay, Ryan.
Ay, ay, ay.
I agree,
let's get to
Randy. Oh, Randy just said, I was saying he was doing it when he was with Reese. I think he was doing everything but that. I really do. But we'll never know, guys. We'll never know.
And I don't think he was, but I wouldn't be surprised at all. I would totally take in a stride. Oh, yeah, shocker, right? If something were to come out. But the thing is, like, we found all this stuff, and it did stop. That's the thing. It did stop. The emails to the prostitutes, the Facebook messages to the prostitutes, the recruiting the girls, the buying the plane tickets. It did completely cut off. It did stop. Now,
it did. Now, this I agree with, though. He never stopped seeing women as property, though.
Oh, no, of course not. No, I mean, no, that's just a mindset. No, that didn't stop. But the physical actions did stop, and it made me wonder, the cynic in me, did it stop or did it move somewhere else? I don't know. I told Reese things to look for. She never found anything.
Yeah, guys, and I've said this to Jeff's credit. In those years I was with him, and Ryan knows this, I never once found a shred of evidence that he was actively cheating on me. I never once found anything that said, "Don't call me, I'm with my wife," meaning me as his wife. I never did. And I will say that to Jeff's credit. I'm not going to sit here and lie and go, "He cheated on me." I don't know if he did. I never find a thing. And I think you guys might know by now, I'm a bit of a good sleuth. I'm kind of a digger. I never found anything. Ryan, are you still friends with Jeff?
I don't know if I was ever friends with Jeff. I was friendly with Jeff. I saw Jeff as a friend for a while. At the end of the day, though, I'm cool. I'm not a Jester. So I think I held Jeff in a higher regard than he held me.
I'm pretty sure, though, if you called Jeff tonight and said, "Hey, buddy, let's get a drink together," I kind of doubt that he would meet you.
I separated. I told Reese this. I didn't want to really talk to Jeff that much, just because, and it sounds so cheesy. It does, but our value system is completely opposed. We are alike in a lot of ways. Jeff and I are, despite the age difference. In a lot of the things that we say, we are similar. I think you would agree with that, Reese. But we're also, when it comes to like the situations that we put ourselves in, and like the way we treat those that can do nothing for us, I think that's completely different. And Reese, I've always seen Reese as my friend, right? Like Reese is a friend of mine, right? Do we talk all the time? No. Do we mainly send memes back and forth? Yeah. Do we send one-liners every couple of days? Yeah, right. Okay. But Reese is my actual friend. Like I'm not a huggy person. When I saw her before she moved to Kansas City, I actually gave her a hug. Jeff and I were
Well, before
friendly.
I moved, I was going to go to your wedding.
Yeah. Reese and Jeff and I were friendly because of Reese. Do I think he liked me on a certain level? Yeah, I mean, I don't see why he would. I liked him on a certain level, but again, I'm not a Jester. So at the end of the day, it's not just women, okay? It's not just women. Whether he will say it in as blunt terms as I'm about to say it or not, I am less than, because I'm not in the Royal Order of Jesters. At the end of the day, I am less than, right? So do I feel like is Jeff going to watch this and feel a certain type of way? Probably.
Yeah, you guys aren't friends though, Ryan. I would not say that you would say right now Jeff is a friend of yours.
No, we
not
were
anymore
friendly.
Though. Would you count on Jeff as a friend? You're saying were, but
no.
Present moment, you are not friends with Jeff.
6 months ago, if I were to ask Jeff for the shirt off his back, would he give it to me? Yes. Now he wouldn't even take my phone call, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything.
Thank you,
no,
analytical
we are not
Blarney.
Friends. It's a long, convoluted way of trying to explain like the relationship dynamic between the three of us, Reese obviously included, and now like obviously I'm on Reese's YouTube channel talking about the shit that he didn't even know that I knew all of, and
right.
We don't speak. We are not friends at this point.
Right. I think you were answering that like past tense, but currently, no, you are not friends. Yes, Jen, I said at the beginning, Ryan and I met through work. Brittany, and then I am going to wrap this up just because this is long and people are going to come back on the replay, and I feel bad that they're going to have to, I don't know. I don't usually do lives this long. I think it's great, and we got so much good content out here, but at the same time, I feel bad for people who I feel bad for anybody that watches me. I'm like, who the hell would watch me? I wouldn't watch me.
Wait till we get those screenshots. Ooh, it's gonna be longer than 3 hours, girl.
That'll be a bit juicy. Well, we're gonna do those in little amounts. I wish I was because honestly, I don't know that I can take it all at once. I wish it was as positive as Ryan. My mind goes to Jeff. Knew what he was doing. Jeff cheated physical and emotionally. I like that Ryan is so level-headed. Yeah, definitely. He like Tommy has said, and I love Tommy there. Just by going, you're cheating. I don't give a shit if you didn't touch a soul. You are cheating by being there. And I agree with
And
that.
again, I want to stress, and how many times when you and I spoke, where did I tell you, I don't feel like I can really talk to Jeff all that much. Like, I don't agree with the things that he does and the things that he says and things that he does to you. I feel really bad because he's so good to me, but I can't put myself around that. How many times did I tell you that? You know?
Many times. And yeah, honestly, Ryan, I'm really glad you did this with me because I just feel very validated. And I'm glad that there was at least one person. Now, his kids, of course, are his kids, but they're going to talk about the past and their upbringing. I have somebody in current time that was there with me that saw this and heard this with their own ears and their own eyes. And it just makes me feel validated because all those years I was told I'm a liar, I'm making it up, I'm a crazy Scientologist, I should be in a loony bin. I was literally told that. So it feels really good for me that you can come on here and say, I was there, I saw it, I heard it, you know. So
Reese
thank
is
you
a
for
lot of
that.
things. She's not crazy and not a liar.
No, I'm not, but definitely a lot of things, just not that. Thank you for being on here with me. I want you to stay on the stream. I'm going to end it. And then I just wanted to wrap it up with you real quick. And then I know you need to go home. Guys, thank you for everybody who is here. This is so supportive. Thank you for your questions, your super chats, your wisdom, and really thank you for being so nice to my friend Ryan and listening to him. Deb S., I love you. And I'm sorry this was so long, but it was needed. It was necessary. And I think Ryan really covered a lot of things that I had even forgotten about. I forgot about a lot of it. And I don't know if I forgot or if I just am protecting myself by blocking this shit out, honestly, because once you see what we've seen, it's going to be something you can't unsee, to be quite honest
it's like
with
the
you.
wool is just pulled. It's like take Eyes Wide Shut and realize it's not a movie.
It will be with you forever. Yeah, it's not a movie. It's going to be real. Crystal, by the way, Crystal Dax, guys, she will be on with us 24 hours from now. Tomorrow night, we will be interviewing with Crystal. And Alicia, I love you, girl. Everybody, thank you. Thank you. Check your subscription, please. Jesters, please subscribe. Jeff's family, please hit the like. Please hit the dislike. It's okay. I don't care what you do. Analytical Blarney, while validating, we believe you. I know, and I love you guys for that. I don't have to prove it. I know you guys believe me, but I am Reese with the receipts. So yeah, this is not a test. It's real.
You should rename your channel to Receipt Reese.
I know. I was thinking Reese with the receipts. Receitable Reese.
Receitable Reese.
All right, guys, I love you all. I will be back tomorrow with Crystal. Ryan, stay here. I'm not going to do my outro. I'm just going to end the stream, guys. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for watching. It was long, but I appreciate it.